fact that nobody heard my message. So it's like, well, I have a message and I need it to be heard. So let's try for round two. But then this is like round four because Twitter has been hating. So let me just talk while I fill the space. While I fill the room, it'll be my voice while the room gets full. And that's odd for me. It's awkward for me. I don't like it, but I was told that we're not supposed to have dead space. So, in order to not have dead space, that means I have to talk about something. And right now, I want to talk about is how Elon keeps fucking with me. Like I don't have a huge platform, Miss G. I I don't have this huge following. I'm not monetized on any of these channels or any of these platforms, but damn it if they don't keep fucking with me. Like what is that about? It's like they want you to try to get their benefits and then they keep you away from the benefits because now you've got shadow bans and strikes against your channel and they're not telling people when you're live and they're actively shutting down your spaces and it's only when we're trying to be productive. I've never seen a ratchet space get shut down. I've never seen that happen. I've never seen a beef space get shut down. I've never seen um, us acting us acting out of our nature publicly get shut down in a way that would make it look like we know what we're doing on these apps or in this app or on this space. I feel like it's only when we're trying to have constructive conversations that we're get interrupted and told that we need to do something else. So, to the room, I appreciate your patience while I've been trying to work through these kinks. I really want to talk to y'all about South Carolina because this weekend is pretty heavy for that state. But I'm not in South Carolina. But maybe some of y'all are. And if you are, then maybe we can have a coordinated effort to pull up to some of these events. I mean, they're literally going to be marching. Like, remember when he spilled blood on Selma? You know, it's going to be like those types of marches. And I don't think it's going to be met with the same type of resistance. So, if we're being honest, maybe back in the day, marches used to be a little bit more taken more seriously than the kumbaya marches that happen now. But I'd love to see Kamala get sprayed with a hose because she's standing up for our rights. I think that that would be a wonderful imagery. But that's just me. I think that if she did get sprayed with a hose marching for our rights, we would see very quickly that she's wearing a wig. Look, I'm not coming up off of that. She looks like that Cynthia doll from Rugrats up under that hair. I want to bet somebody money, and then I want somebody to be next to her so that they can like gank it. Because if it doesn't go anywhere, then okay, I lost. But if it does, and she looks like that Cynthia doll from Rugrats, I will die. I'll probably die once a day until I actually die, just because I called it, and nobody believed me, and then I was able to prove it. So anyway, that's just me being petty. To the room, shout out to you. It's actually not a lot of people in here, but to the people who are in here, y'all are some pretty heavy hitters. So it's not about the quantity as much as it's about the quality. So I appreciate the quality individuals who have decided to spend their Saturday afternoon with me while I bitch about Elon fucking with my spaces. I talk about Kamala's hairpiece and wig and getting hosed down by a hose. Talk about spilling blood on Selma. Even though we aren't in Selma this weekend, we are in Charleston or Columbia. But we're definitely in South Carolina this weekend. And when I say we, I don't mean me. That's the whole reason I'm having this space. I need y'all. I need you. Y'all are out there and know you're out there. Now, are you out there in the droves and the thousands that, people think that we need to get things done? No. But you are out there in the tens and the hundreds and pennies add up, man. I hate people who act like money doesn't all equal up to the same money if you're adding it all together. So whether you a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, or a dollar, it's all going to add to our bucket of Black empowerment, of standing up for what's ours, of speaking truth to power, of making these bitches pay us. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. They need to cut the check. But what they're doing is they're going on a tour around the country on this like forgive tour or worse, forget tour, because Oh, I read an article. Let me try to find it. I read an article earlier by Duke Buckner, who's a candidate for Congress in South Carolina. It's a black guy. And I don't know if he's foundational or not. He looks like he's happy to be there. So I guess that can be whatever you want it to be. But anyway, Duke's talking about how on Monday the president's supposed to be at Emmanuel AME Church, and this is where 9 people were murdered at Bible study, right? And we always see the Democrats going to the black church to kind of save them from themselves. But I even think now in 2024, the black church, I even think some of the people in the black church know that it's all for show. And I don't know if they like being the butt end of the joke. I really think that churches want to be filled full again. And I think that when they keep allowing themselves to be used symbolically or just for show, not for anything tangible, the people have been seeing the tricks and they're like, well, we want to stay away from all of that. Fuck you and your church, because you're not really doing the work. You just faking. And if this is the type of religion that y'all are a part of, then I don't want any parts of it. At least that's what I've been seeing amongst people in my generation and younger. I know that people older than me have been pretty uh, resistant to moving away from the church because it's ingrained in them. I don't want to say it's like an old dog learning new tricks, but I will say that it's traditions that have been uh, poured into for years. And if that's how your family was brought up and these are the things that you participate in, well, it's going to be very hard for you to remove yourself from that. But that's why you're supposed to be using the generations that come after you to do that. I think we don't know how to use each other the right way. uh, all the time we're talking about how the elders and the elders are supposed to be in an advisory role for us. You know, they're not boots on the ground anymore. They cannot be out there fighting a good fight. But during the uprisings, I saw old white people out, on the opposite side of the black people who were marching and standing up for what was right. So I don't even know if that's true anymore. If their racist counterparts are out in the streets and they're outside, but they say they don't want to be outside because they're old and they don't have it, or their back hurts, or it's that's not their fight anymore. Don't y'all hear that all the time? It's not our fight anymore. I say our, I don't mean my. I mean the olders and the elders. They tell us that all the time. They tell us, well, we would love to coach and teach and give you leadership and guidance, and we will give you advice and tell you the best way to do it. But then they don't actually want to get out of the way and allow us to get the work done. So we have a playbook. The plays aren't being ran. To the room, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a brief aside because Dr. Short was supposed to join me, and it seems like he's been having technical difficulties getting in the room. So I'm going to grab him on the back line and see if we can bring him up. In the meanwhile, if anybody wants to come and speak on the topic, I know it's not in the jumbo title slide, but it is being talked about and it is in the jumbo. South Carolina, that's what I want to talk about. I want to know who's there, if you're able to get there, and if you have plans on doing something. And if you don't, maybe we can help you make a plan. I think the biggest symbol we've seen so far is when Bloomberg got his when the parishioners turned their back on him in real time at church. I thought that was beautiful imagery. And I wonder if we can replicate that. So I'm a mute right here, and if anybody wants the mic, you can grab it. I'm gonna see if I can get Dr. Short in the room, and if I can't, then I'll be back, and if I can, then he'll be here too. Hey, Sister Miriam, how you doing?
Hey, beloved, how are you, Steve?
I'm doing all right. I'll be better once I figure out why Muskie is not letting Dr. Short in the space. But
Mm,
while I do that, you have some thoughts for the room?
indeed, it's about to be some fire up in here. That's why to what I always hate. Ex musky, always hating. Um, bring it to light in what you were saying. We definitely have to put feet on the ground and try to make sure we come out and support our brother. Um, Marcel and our brother Black Alpha. South Carolina definitely needs those feet on the ground, and as well as the space earlier that Miss G held. We definitely need feet on the ground in Atlanta, and then for the one black brother, there's need to show up for that as well, but definitely um, represent for our reparations. It's on the 15th, South Carolina. Um, I always forget the little town. Is it Columbia or Columbus?
Yeah, it's actually Columbia and Charleston. Both
Oh, wow. Okay.
cities are having something going on this weekend.
Mm.
We've got Emmanuel AME, and then there's the Zion Church,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're marching, and then I guess Cam is supposed to be there talking about HR 40. This is supposed to be a big weekend for South Carolina. And the only reason I cut you off is because I wanted to get some clarity. You said Black Alpha is going to be in South Carolina? That's real?
Yeah, I thought he was being out. He definitely said he was going to be there in South Carolina. Him and Brother Marcel have had
Excellent.
two spaces. Yeah.
Excellent. Because I
Yeah.
talked to Marcel, and as Marcel is my resident South Carolinian, Gullah Geechian, whatever you want to call it, I know that he wasn't able to be there. And I'm like, well, I don't know anybody in South Carolina, Marcel, but I know that I've got a little voice, and my little voice can carry little ways. So if I know anybody in South Carolina, maybe they can link up. Because it's really going to take like five people. If five people show up and turn their backs on them people and cause some sort of commotion, then on Tuesday it won't look like the niggas in South Carolina just let them come through and march down to the state building, because that's going to be the biggest thing that they're looking for, Miriam. I think they're going to be looking for, well, yeah, the blacks liked it, they wanted it. See, you see how we know they
Oh,
wanted it, because there was
oh
no
no.
protest.
Indeed, because Brother Alpha and Brother Marcel definitely, like I said, they had two different spaces now pertaining to this very thing. And, one is a Atlantean and one is a South Carolinian, and they are willing to cross travel in each other regions because they said they're just an arm stretch away. So, Marcel came up and helped support Brother Alpha when he was doing his stomping. And so he's doing the same to help Brother Marcel. And I think he's going to bring a few people with him. And I just encourage for family, if you're within 6 to 2 hour drive, that is not a lot to actually come and represent and be, respectful, be um, present your best intellectual mind while being, black first, while holding up. He wanted people, if you can, to do a sign that's saying reparations over immigration, because you're going to have, it's been confirmed, Kamala, along with some others, Clyburn and others, will be there. So we have to make sure we let our voices be heard. I would love to be there. I would have to fly in, so it's not happening because I'm more than 13 hours away. But I already gave them my shout out, my support, and phone banking and things of that nature, and constantly, reposting and tweeting the event, and just make sure that if you can, brothers and sisters, show up and press these people. Don't threaten to whoop them or nothing like that. We don't need no one going to jail unnecessarily and acting crazy because that's what they want. but be boisterous, you know, get the point across that we want our reparations, we want our protections, and we just need to band together and show solidarity. It don't necessarily have to be 100, but it does need to be at least a good strong 10 to 20 to put pressure on that room. Shout out to you, beloved Dr. Shortis in the building. uh
I,
Wazoo brother,
I
peace and love.
tried two accounts to get in. I must be important because what? Why can't I go into Twitter? Okay, Eve, you tell them what happened earlier. We came.
Oh, I did. I told them, and actually, since you've been in this space, I haven't been able to tell them the fun things that I've seen. But I've seen both of your accounts. I've seen me give your account mics, and you're requesting the mic from me. So I'm throwing you the mic. You're requesting it from me, and Muskie is like, haha, these niggas will always be confused, and I'm just like, no. So then you come in under a different account. You got the mic. We can hear you.
Mhm.
So far, so good.
There's power in the name. They don't like DRS1. They don't. Well, they don't like any of that. I don't care. Look, brothers and sisters, we have an opportunity to make history in the next few days. We have an opportunity to do something for our people in a mighty way, and we should do it. And we shouldn't care what anybody says. We need to snatch the torch from the boomers because they're never going to get it. I'm sorry. I wish they would. I would to God the boomers would do what they're supposed to do, but the boomers are not. It's left to us to get out and do this. And if anybody's got friends, in fact, everybody retweet this room. Retweet the room. Everybody that's on my YouTube, everybody that's watching, please bring everyone's attention because we need people to show up and let folks know that Biden lied to us. We were promised stuff. We've got nothing. In fact, actually, we have less. There are people in DC who just recently they were getting $6 a month for supplemental nutrition assistance program, while hundreds were being given to people that were brought here illegally, which means it's starving black seniors and other people to feed people in the country illegally. This is what we've gotten from Biden and the Biden mayors, the Mayor Bowser in D.C., Mayor Johnson in Chicago, Karen Ass in Los Angeles, uh, Eric Asshole Adams in New York. All these people, the mayor of Detroit, they're putting black people out in the cold to feed illegals. Uh, there's even the police will not even arrest or do anything about illegals committing crimes, raping, robbing people. They already have a crime bill and they're not even citizens. We were lied to. We must punish the black elite, and I don't care who's listening, the nigger, the nigger Masons and the nigger Greeks and the nigger Boule people. We have to yank the Ku Klux Klan sheet off of them. They've given us this disaster. This is genocide. We're moving towards what the Palestinians have in Gaza, and this is being done to us by black Democrats, by black preachers, by black Masons, by black Greek letter people, by black civil rights organizations are allowing us to be exterminated in our own country. There's they're giving reparations to people in the country unlawfully and can't even mention what's happening to us. Sheila Jackson, and I'm going to say this, there are a lot of big platforms out there. They're underperforming on critical issues. We're talking more about stars, celebrities, and so forth, and very little about bread and butter issues of survival. Doing one story isn't enough. Doing a story now and then isn't enough. We need to be beating the drums until heaven and hell hears that we're tired of this. If you want to know what's going to happen to us in 10 to 20 years, Look at what happened to Gaza. It would be done differently, but what's happening to people in Gaza is what will be done and is being done to us right now. The same way the people from Gaza will run out of what's called Israel, we're being run out of all of whatever we knew was home. And what we can do, we may not be able to control white supremacy, but we can punish black traitors, black treachery. No good takes dicks, jakes, and other sorts of people are the reason we're in the situation that we're in. They're in positions of influence and authority and will not open their mouths because they're doing okay. I gave Sister Eve some organizations because if you can't make it to South Carolina, if you got a cell phone, if you've got email, you can raise some hell. You can contact the South Carolina NAACP and let Mrs. Glover know, bitch, knock it off. You can contact the head bishop for the United Methodist Church, a black man. You can start writing these people, telling them that they're traitors, and that what happens when a people are made desperate, people like them end up becoming enemies to the people of their group. Don't say anymore because they'll say they threaten you. You threaten them. It's like that guy's name, Anus Brown, the preacher in San Francisco that's against reparations. Notice that you haven't heard from that coon since we went after him. These people are weak. We're not behind them. Their organizations are dying. Most of the people that follow them are in their 70s. It's time for the Xers, the millennials, and the others to remove these people. In fact, let me tell you something. A lot of older black people, pardon my language, y'all need to shut the fuck up. We've obeyed you. We've listened to you. We're closer to being exterminated than ever before, not even since slavery. The boomers and the silent generation folk have set us out here to be wiped out. And I'm old and I'm black. Listen to me. I've lived long. You've lived too long. We would be better off if a lot of people died at 60 than to live into their 70s and 80s and try to make things work like they were in the 1950s. The world is changing. You need to go after the local NAACP. Anybody that can contact the NABJ, they have a North Carolina thing, South Carolina thing. We need to go after people, call your friends, your family, but we need a presence in that church to turn Biden out. Biden needs to be treated worse than Bloomberg. Not just that, people need to go after Clyburn. You need to go after Bakari Sellers, the one that comes on CNN. He's on Twitter. People need to go after these people in their accounts and confront them. People need to go after Simone Sanders. And there's this Haitian bitch, yeah, I called her bitch, who's the engagement person for black people for Biden. We need to let them know she's not going to work. We don't want them. We also need to tell Al Sharpton we don't want him either. And whatever's making him small, I wish it would hurry and finish up. He looks like a raisin. We must put pressure on these people. There is a woman from the AME Church. You need to get in touch with the AME bishop for down in South Carolina. The AMEs are a bunch of Masonic phonies. That's a big, prestigious black church that's going to commit suicide this year when they support gay marriage and openly gay bishops and pastors to try to be hip. I can't wait until they commit suicide. If you believe in God, look, you can't tell me as a single person at 58 that you got to sleep with everybody that appeals to you and God made you that way. No, your own vain imagination made you need a load up your behind. Watch these same churches are advocating for the illegals, are advocating for crime bills for Jews and for Asian Pacifics, and they've said nothing about our reparations. Clyburn needs to be harassed. That punk, what's his name? The one that looks like Mahalia Jackson, Jamie Harrison. If you can find these people on Twitter or Facebook, trust me, they're weak. Yes, your insults and writing makes a difference. Trust me, white people read the threads. If a bunch of us started writing Jamie Harrison saying, "You're a sellout nigga and you're not even a good looking Mahalia Jackson imitator," if people kept saying that over and over and over again, people would start saying the black community already is saying no to Biden. We need to say that Biden is going to lose. He's already lost as of the day we showed up. And it has to happen in South Carolina. And we have to go after Clyburn. And we have to go after Bakari Sellers and these other people. We also need to let Clyburn know his daughter will not be the representative when he dies. We have to be a message. We're not taking it anymore. The NAACP, and there's a thing called the National Congress of Black Churches, a National Black whatever. Uh, I think I sent this information to you, sister. You put it in the Jumbotron. People can get that information, and particular Sister Giselle, we can do a Black January. We need to put the same demands for reparations and circulate this stuff all over again. We already have it, just changed the month on it. We circulate all over again. On top of that, we need to go after uh, anybody that we need to get a commitment, although we won't get it. We need to demand a statement. In fact, there are groups here in DC, for those who are in the DC area, we need to go after the National NAACP. We need to go after the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. If we started raising sand again, like Sister Giselle and others were doing, and we did it now, it's going to make the news and it's going to embarrass them. And that's our purpose, is to hijack the narrative. We want Biden's people too jittery to even come into black neighborhoods. We can too do it. We have to do it. If we start acting stupid, black folks like imitating worse than white folks with cover records in the 50s. Everybody will start acting stupid when Biden comes to town. So what y'all say? Let's show them our ass. He's shown us his predator ass for the last 3 years. It's time that we show our non-reparation check having asses. We show our asses to them too. And yes, you can. If you've got a phone, if you've got the internet and you can write, if you go in on Donna Brazile, Jamie Harrison, Simone Sanders, start writing them, get all your friends to write them. As well as if we have a presence down there, and if people start writing the different journalists online, whoever you want, keep writing them until somebody says these black people have gone nuts. And we can trend quit Biden. That's a good hashtag. Uh, Biden, no Biden 2024, or, blacks against Biden, right? Which would be, wow. BAB, blacks against Biden. And we put it up there and just get that moving. We're against him, and just have folk just constantly put hate out all day. Trust me, the Trump people and the other folks are going to pick it up and take it all over. The white people will do 90% of our work if we just do 10%. Not that they want us to have reparations, they give a damn about us, but they hate Biden. And so we need to harness the hatred of the working class and angry flyover country white people to use them on these metrosexual coastal liberal elites and their no good degenerate Biden sexual boule coons. We have two enemies. We have the white supremacists that hold office and the black functionaries that help them. We need to remind them that they lied to us and they can never lie to us again. And that's all I have to say. Sister, you've got the information. And we can call it the Biden takedown. We're taking Biden down. Trust me, it will catch on. Other
Oh, I
people,
like that Blacks Against Biden hashtag.
blacks against,
I've already started using
we,
it.
we,
And then look, I went to Bakari's page, and you know what Bakari's worried about? Bakari's sellout is worried about the Ludacris and Cat the fuck is his last Cat Williams situation. He's worried about.
Sellers, one
Ludacris and Cat Williams, not
Bakari
our
Sellers
reparations.
is first and foremost. I hate to say this, he's some kind of cousin of mine. His sorry ass. He got busted for a DUI, and that ended his political career in South Carolina. What we should do for Bakari Sellers is send him pictures of bottles of booze and call him the
Look, you're related to so
no.
many,
Name is
so many questionable
uh,
people.
the sellers are from the Sellers are from Georgia. The Sellers he lives over in West South Carolina, and that's right next to East Georgia, right? I'm just telling you, the Sellers have been my family for 400 years. So it's the same damn people. I'm smarter than he is, obviously. And his father was a great person. Cleveland Sellers is one of the greatest black activists we've ever produced. But this boy, he's sort of like the King Kids. He's civil rights legacy Negro.
Was just about to say, Dr. Short, we got to fix that because if every time we have a great, they have minis, and then their minis fuck the legacy up, that's not
But
that's a problem.
that's what we need to say to him. He's the DUI guy. Hey, DUI guy, you really messed up your dad's image. Trust me, that will hurt him. We have to get in these people's heads. Political insults, criticism makes an impact. This doesn't happen in our community. We have to go back. We got this really, the Boule really tricked us. The Boule got us into all this black respectability. Well, I'm not going to quit because they're the mayor, and I'm going to respect the seat. Shit, I'm not going to respect anything if you don't serve me. Oh, well, he's older. Look, if I'm older, does that give me a right to be a pedophile? Does it give me a right to not do my job to serve other people because I'm old? I've got great pubic hair. I'm entitled to neglect my duty to my race? To hell with age. People, like I said, they've lived too long. I age out of my commitment to my people, and it's all about me now. And, well, when I was young, you know who was really radical when they were young? Was that punk, what's his name? Scam Jones. And so it's a phase where you speak now that you've gotten somewhere and you sold out. Oh, well, I have to respect him because, well, he's. No, we don't have to respect these people. It's interesting. We disrespect great people in our community, and we show so much deference for the people who hate our guts. What's wrong with us? We need to disrespect them. Tell them you need to get out of public life. I'm going to get all my friends to vote against you. Somebody, you know, I I don't know, but like one or two of my family in South Carolina, I don't know them because of how things happen. And my whole ass great great grandfather may have had 7 families. I don't know them. If I did, I would have been on the phone trying to find some people that I could get. But some of you know somebody from South Carolina. Somebody's got some rice for breakfast eat niggas in their family that could just go over to that church and just show up. Just have an ugly look on your face. We mean mug each other all day and we don't even know each other. We have a reason to hate Biden. We have a reason to hate Jamie Harrison. We have a reason to disrespect Clyburn. We have a reason to despise that fat preacher that they didn't let go to see the color purple. Probably because there wasn't enough room for him in the popcorn machine. What? It's time for us to be angry about before we have. Look, if we don't do something now, we're going to be in a position worse than the people in Gaza. And trust me, if they came to kill us the same way, there's nobody that's going to bust the grape for us.
Which is why we can't. I mean, I can appreciate our master teachers who've taught us that we're not supposed to be waiting for saviors, that we're supposed to be doing the work. But then, I look out and around me, and it's not as many people as I thought. But I think that that's okay as long as I'm doing the work. I can really only speak for me.
Sister, a handful of us, I'm committed. I'm willing to give time. All we need to do is put together we can email, call, Twitter. We did this before. I think Sister Giselle is somewhere nearby. I know is she down there? Is Giselle anywhere in there? I see her, Miss G.
She is. She might be busy right now, but if
Okay.
she wants to come
Uh,
up, please, Giselle, please. We would love your expertise on this matter. And
Yep.
Kush, if you're in the space too, definitely could use
Yep.
your thoughts on this. But I know you're committed to this, Dr. Short. You're as committed as we've been trying to figure out how to get you in the damn space for an hour. So like, I, the commitment is there, but then it's people who are actually close enough to do something.
Hmm.
Is their commitment there? Because
But
we can be
you can
committed all day,
call.
and then nobody shows up.
We can all call the head of the NAACP because trust me, she's an old black woman. Once she gets a bunch of mean calls, people complaining, ringing their phone, you guys sold us out. You niggas down south always sell out. You imagine people having to hear that in their voicemail. I've worked in an office when people start giving mean calls and they're angry about stuff. The word gets around. Why these people bitch about Biden? Biden hasn't done nothing for you, know, and says it's too bad the Klan didn't do Wall Street on your neighborhood. Oh, that just was so hurtful to me. We've got to make these people, these comfortable boomers who haven't kicked the bucket, uh, want to cash in on the annuity. It Otherwise we're stuck. They may live another 10 years. They'll keep doing this. Basically there's a primal scream saying, "Stop me before I coon again." We must stop them. I think I mentioned to you. Did you look up the head of the National Council of Churches?
I
This woman.
posted. I think I posted the links that you sent me in the
Yeah,
jumbo.
but I didn't send you that one. And so that's one that you don't have, Eve. And her name is Vashti McKenzie. She's a black woman head of the National Organization of Churches, National Council of Churches. It's two black women. By the way, they're pushing abortion and LGBTQ, not reparations. Um, Women need to, and I'm gonna say this, black women, you guys are key. You're key to going after the black women figures because, oh, it's sexism if I point out that my mayor's a coon. Her starving elderly black women, well, she has to show she's tough. I've heard stuff like this. I says, well, I'd like to take your food budget away from you. Would I be tough? Because I'm a man, we have this bullshit double standard in our community that women don't have to be held accountable. They are professional or they got some money. Ooh, look, is that Mark Carter?
What's up, Randy Short? What up, man?
Oh, oh shit. Please, brother, set this room on fire. We need to shut that bitch Biden down. We need to take Biden's ass and we need to go after Clanburn and these other people. It must happen. It has to because it paves the way for Chicago. Everybody knows I've said this. Chicago is the most important city for black people in the country. I sent Brother Paul, I was watching, what's it, WTTW? They had all these, I was watching all these Chicago documentaries on that bastard, Jane Byrne and Dick Daley. Chicago is sacred ground, but we have to set the ground for mass black. We're not going to go through the shit anymore. That's going to happen in Chicago this summer. We shouldn't wait. We need to have everything on fire during the wintertime. They'll know black folks are serious. We normally act out when it's hot. We need to act stupid when it's cold. Go ahead, Mark. Take over. And please talk about this sorry ass Biden. And if you know some gangsters or anybody in South Carolina, somebody take a bus, anything, stop Biden, punish this dude Clyburn. We've got to stop these old boomers or they'll kill us all.
And that's exactly what's going to happen to us. These people have sold us down the drain. And the way to send a message to them, you all, especially for the younger generation. And I think enough hasn't been explained to the younger people why our people have always voted Democrat. It was always centered around a bunch of no money shit. And if was some money involved, it's so little of money that it didn't matter. And so what they have you voting for is for them to continue to get these grants. They want you to stay on welfare and Section 8 for the rest of your life. The Democratic Party is not in the best interest of anybody that is a business owner. If you want to be a business owner, if you are a business owner, you have no business voting for the Democratic Party. Now, I know they're going to try to sell y'all this women's rights bullshit. They're going to try to sell y'all the LGBT rights. Ain't no money in that shit. That's a bunch of no money shit that they've been selling to our people forever. And our people been going for it. At the end of the day, you're gonna get your gay rights, you're gonna get your women's rights, you're gonna get your Pan-Africanist rights, your so-called I'm an elite rights, and they're gonna do y'all like they did to those do what to y'all they did to those people that they did to those people in California. You're gonna stand with them, and then they're gonna abandon you. They're gonna give your house, your car, your job, and everything else over to some goddamn Mexicans, like they did in California, in those places where black people have been wiped out. Now, I hear today that all the black people have not been wiped out of California, but it was said by people from California that they're in new areas now. Well, the question is, why do they have to be in new areas? Why they can't be in the area where they've been for the last 100 years? Why do they have to pick up and move from Compton and Watts and all those places that the lady was naming? Well, they had to move because they believed in the liberal agenda. They thought that they were progressives. They put your ass out. The Mexicans put your ass out. They don't care how much education you have. They don't care how smart you are, how good you work. They don't need you. And now that they've made them police officers, what the hell y'all think they're gonna do to y'all?
And I want to mention, when you see the black women getting their asses kicked by the police for all the sisters that like the straight hair, the taco suave dudes, it's the Latino dudes beating your asses. Just want to point that out. you know,
I'm really pointing it out because our people get so caught up in a bunch of no money shit. They make that shit more important than the black agenda, and they definitely make it more important than the economic agenda. And so the people of California in those various places they got kicked out of, they make that shit more about the issue-based campaign than they did about the black agenda, which included them being able to control the economics. And in the end, that those liberal Jews out there gave y'all homes and y'all cars and everything else that you own, your jobs, they gave it all to Mexicans. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? Enough of them. How do you what do you think that they're gonna do to the rest of y'all in the other cities that you voting for Democrats? They're gonna do the same damn thing to you in those cities. That's why we're ahead of the curve. We trying to wake these people up more than we've awakened them, and it couldn't have happened any better than it did with Abbott sending all these illegal immigrants to Chicago, because now they finally awakened. We couldn't tell them 10 years ago that immigration was going to be a real problem. They weren't listening. They were crying about the immigrant kids at the border. They used to cry about that. You should hear them. I used to think that they were crazy as hell.
they were crazy as hell
All
because
this
you
different though
have
now,
one in.
Randy. All now that
Yeah,
they see the handwriting on
I'm
the wall
watching.
with Abbott sending all them illegal immigrants. I'm glad he sent them here. I'm glad he sent them here because that shit woke them up. They needed that. You couldn't tell them shit.
I I know, and what I was going to say is they were crying for the immigrant kids at the border, but 1 in 9 black children is in the care of the Child Protective Services, being raped, molested, not adopted, and that didn't draw people's attention. And I want to say a big part of it, and I want to thank you and congratulate you. But again, you're going to agree with me. One of the key elements that's woke people up is that black women have got mad, single elderly women and stuff who have people stealing shit off their porch, defecating on their porch, doing all kinds of stuff. It's woke people's asses up. Some of the most reactionary voters in our community are boomer females that are still living back in the 60s with Dr. King, where you give a nigga a hot dog to vote. And these days, I don't know where they put the hot dog, but still, um, I'm glad Abbott did it. It's even beginning to happen here. Um, but we must. South Carolina, there's got to be a way. Everybody knows somebody.
But see, they got some Democrat shields on the app. Y'all help me with these names: Nikki Barnes, The Epitome. What are those other names? Damn, I can't think of the other ones. Anyway, these are the man haters of the app, right? old man haters, not just man haters. These are the old man haters, right? And they love Joe Biden no matter what he did to destroy the black community, what he did to destroy black men. They love him, and they're on the app recruiting for him. This is how crazy they are.
But you see,
But
what's
hold, let me say this part because I want y'all to know. But they are lying down and having babies by the Confederates. They having babies by these Confederates while they telling us how racist a Trump is. But you went and laid down and had a baby by a white man. But we're not supposed to say nothing about that white man, huh? Those type of white men.
well? He
There
good
you
to
go.
them. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't burn a cross in my house.
See, that's the conversation we got to really start having about these Democratic shields. Start looking past that dark skin and figuring out who they laying down having babies by. And you're gonna find out they got a bunch of little mulatto babies, you know what I'm saying, running around here while they telling us how racist these white folks are. They laying down and having babies by KKK members. I mean, maybe they'll come in
Mark,
and answer that question.
Mark, I think we've been having this conversation. At least we've been having the conversation since I've I, Daniel Cameron. You know Daniel Cameron? He's
No, I don't know who
basically
that is.
Kamala. Okay, there we go. Let's have the conversation. So Daniel Cameron is the Kamala of Kentucky, right? And then
Oh
Oh,
no,
he's
no. Hey,
but
you're right. It's the males and females. I don't want to just make this about the women
oh, and
because
I'm not doing the gender thing at all. I'm just saying
no, no,
like
no,
it's
no. You're
it's just
right.
across
You're
the
right.
board, and
No,
we
no, you
definitely
are
need to
right.
have these
Just like them old
conversations.
ball bouncing ass niggas, they can't keep their tongue out of white woman's ass. You know, all them niggas playing football and basketball, they add them into that shit. They can't keep their tongue out of white woman's ass. Same thing go for them too.
and
Absolutely. I
so
was
we
not doing that the gender thing. I just was
the
saying, yes, you're right. That we're seeing this and it needs to be called out because the people it used to be it all right, y'all are going to hate me for this and maybe not y'all, but some of y'all are going to hate me. It used to be black first, right? Because you see black people, you see them and it's like, okay, you me and I'm you and we're all together. But then you get the first black. And then it's like the first black is probably an off-code person because of what they had to do to be in that space to be that first black. But let's give them some grace because sometimes and actually a lot of times we do work well beyond what these other people are doing, so then we get the opportunity and then now we are the first black. But do we give it back? No, we take it and we're like, yes, it's mine, I'm the first black, and then the blackness goes away, and now they're just this thing with black skin not speaking up for us. And we see it over and over and over again. I remember going to the polls with my parents and they told me, you got to vote for the black person. And I'm like, really? What? Not what their policies are, not what they're
But
even
but, but
here
let me
for.
say this to
You
you,
got to
sister.
vote for the black person.
Let me say this to you because maybe you're a younger woman. I'm 50 years old. Listen to me closely. A lot of these people my age and older, they don't know what the fuck they talking about.
no, they don't.
Don't y'all follow that shit that they telling y'all? Matter of fact, everything that me, Randy, or anybody over 50 years old say to you, make sure that you go back it up with some type of facts. Because a lot of them, they're gonna tell y'all shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They guided themselves down the wrong road, and they're gonna guide you down the wrong road. Okay? This is what they do. And I'm talking about my own age group now, because we
Yes,
y'all, we y'all parents. All right, we y'all parents, and so we want what's best for y'all. We're not gonna guide you down the wrong road, but still check on what the fuck we saying. Look
I,
it up. Ask somebody that's our age. We're gonna give you the truth about these people. That's why I'm saying this about Nikki Barnes and Leslie and all of them. They talk all that shit, and then you ask them, "Well, can you put up a picture of your babies? Can you put up a picture of the man you lay down in the bed with?" Oh, they ain't gonna put those pictures up because they want you to believe that they are black power ungower. Oh no, 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 no. It's like Cornell West talk all that shit, but that white woman, or white woman on his tongue. You know what I'm saying? That white woman just riding his tongue like a seesaw. You know what I'm saying?
but
I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear
he,
nothing about one of them niggas got to say. I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that nigga. I don't want to. Hey, don't tell me nothing Cornell West is saying. And when I caught his ass in my neighborhood, I told him to get your white woman loving ass the fuck up out of here. You know what I'm saying? This was 10 years ago. Get your white woman loving ass the fuck up out of here. Don't be over here talking like you on some black shit.
and you need to add
Yeah.
your black wife beating ass out of here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hey,
I said that. Okay.
Hey, Dr.
Beat
I
the shit
want.
out of the black. Fuck him.
What's up, Dr. Show? What's up, everybody? I wanted to add some clarity to. 'Cause I've been here for a little bit. I want to add some clarity to it. We got to understand that, when it comes to the voting thing, it's definitely deeper than the party. But don't like here in California, for example. I'm here. I'm here in LA, and it was a little more nuanced. It was generally, Brother Mark was right, but it's a little more nuanced than that because here in California, our big gentrification really started to happen under our Republican Governor Schwarzenegger and our Republican Mayor Richard Riordan. That's where the downtown that gentrification started under the Republican guy here. And also it was a very, very soft gentrification. Most of it had to do with this people. It was just dangerous and people moving out to the Inland Empire for a cheaper home in a non-dangerous neighborhood. So that's really how it started, and then it got exacerbated through Section 8. When the Mexicans took over, that's when Section 8 stopped handing out Section 8 vouchers in LA for black people and put them out on the outskirts of
But
town.
see, they be following
Wow.
that old
Let me
liberal
finish.
shit. They
And
be following.
yeah, I'm just letting people. I'm just giving people some clarity as to how it happened. While they were not giving out Section 8 vouchers because most of the hood, like in most cities, are people who are renting it on Section 8. If you were black, your Section 8 voucher said you have to move out to Lancaster or Palmdale, and if you're Latino or Mexican, your Section 8 voucher would allow you to move into Compton, Watts, and South Central. So that's they. I was working with programs where they literally like if a black person wanted to move, they wouldn't allow them to move. The Section 8 would be like, yeah, you can't move over there in the jungles now. You got to move out to Palmdale. And so a lot of people were really hardcore relocated. Um, but a lot of these policies happen here in California. And what Californians, especially black people, we voted against illegals getting health care. They did what they did to those folks in Chicago. It's California rights. So a lot of those laws comes on measures, ballot measures. And Californians, although very democratic, were very when it was left to us as voters, were against LGBTQ votes in 2008. Proposition 8 was a proposition to legalize gay marriage, and California overwhelmingly said no. When it came to illegal immigration and them getting medical benefits and getting benefits, the California voters said no. They did what they did to those folks in Chicago. They was like, okay, you guys voted no. Okay, we just gonna do either. We gonna do it anyway.
But
Or
see, you all
and
have
then
been our
and
example. See,
yeah,
we
but
pay attention to what happened in New
yeah,
York,
no, no.
Florida,
I'm just finishing this
California.
point. I'm just finishing this point. I'm just saying, like, all I'm saying, as an example, as someone who's been at the spearhead of the example, seeing both parties fuck us over, I want to make it very clear to people who, being from California, as an example, the Republican Party is no savior either. It's
No, 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 no.
I'm
Let me make this clear. Let me make this clear
yeah,
to y'all.
I
Listen, when
was
it
just
comes to the one percenters on the
making in
left
general.
and right, with Democrats and Republicans, let me say it again. When it comes to Democrats and Republicans that are the one percenters, they want immigrants. They benefit from immigration. So when we talk to the Republicans, I don't want to talk to no goddamn one percenters about shit. Too goddamn uppity for me. No different than an uppity ass nigga. I don't want to talk to no uppity ass crackers. I talk to them white racist Ku Klux Klan crackers. You know what I'm saying? Because I hate them about as much as they hate me. But we can sit at a table to go against this immigration and expose the one percenters on both sides, right? So we ain't in no love affair with no goddamn 1% Republicans. No different than the 1% Democrats. So we understand. We understand exactly how this shit went down. And a lot of this stuff has quietly been in place, right? But it wasn't until Barack Obama and Rahm Emanuel. It really wasn't even Barack Obama. It was more so Rahm Emanuel, who's a white Zionist, racist ass Jew, that was Barack Obama's chief of staff, right? He was Bill Clinton's senior advisor. That motherfucker live here. He's the one that covered up the murder of Laquan McDonald, and we ran his ass out of office here, right? And so we know that when it comes to those 1% Republicans, they are just like the 1% Democrats. Those are the ones you see that have sided with the Democrats to move on Trump. See, Trump wasn't supposed to line up with those Southern Kentucky back of the woods crackers. They didn't like that. They didn't like that he chose the lower class white folks over the higher class whites. And so they want to do away with him. See, we got to be smart enough to pay attention to how to use a person as a tool. I don't give a fuck about them being racist. They ain't no more racist than we are. We get so emotional because like we
No,
want them
we're
to
not
do right
racist,
by
Mark.
us.
We
Huh?
not
Yeah.
racist, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm
But I
racist
feel
as
you.
hell. Yeah,
Ain't no way. You don't
I'm a
have no
racist.
control over any
Yes, the
programs,
fuck we do.
policies, or no.
Yes,
Where?
we do.
Show me where.
In the Senate, in the House, they vote.
So
They
then,
vote right.
They
They
don't.
vote, ma'am. Hold on, because y'all be saying that shit all wrong.
nah. I'm sorry, Mark. Respectfully, because I really rock with a lot of what you're saying, but we don't have control over anything. That's why we're fighting
Yes,
for
you
them to cut
do.
the check.
Yes,
Mark, I'm trying to tell you, if we had control, then we wouldn't be telling them to cut the check. We wouldn't be telling them that we're owed reparations. We would have been paid reparations already. But we're not because none of the people in power fuck with us. So, to your point, I like what you've been saying. The
ma'am.
poor
They don't
whites,
care nothing about no reparations.
you gotta let me finish. I'm sorry. Only because it's my space and I will let you finish because, like I said, I really like what you've been saying and I agree with most of what you're saying. However, we don't have control over anything of note, whereas you can keep white people from getting a house or a loan or something like that. You can't keep them out of your school or out of your whatever. However, like you were saying, the poor whites that Trump got on his side, I like that because it's more of them than the 1% whites. So, yes, we do need to use the people around us and we shouldn't be stupid about it. Nobody's saying that they're going to like us and we're going to like them and it's going to be some kumbaya. No, but these are the same white people we've been dealing with since 1526. Since before that, we, foundational Black America, Native Blacks, Blacks who've been here since before Columbus and all that, we've been dealing with these white people the same way with resistance, with fighting back, with making sure that they know that that shit's not going to fly. And then these other blacks, the new blacks, the Nikki Haley's and Kamalas who aren't even black, try to come in and tell us that we have to accept what they've been doing, and that's not right. So, like, I hear you. We can be bigots. We can be people who are not nice. But I will never allow somebody to say, at least in a space where I have control over the mic, that we can be racist because we cannot. Not
Okay,
yet.
so let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Is racism a group of people or a system?
It's a system.
It's a system, right? So,
Yes.
um, do we have a black person on the Supreme Court that's making decisions? That's a senior making decisions,
You
huh?
mean like you talking about Katanji? Are we calling Katanji who
Matter of
don't
fact, you
even
got
know what a
two.
woman is black?
No. Matter of fact, you got two. See, to say that we don't have power. No. We got power. It's how we use it or don't use it. Stop letting them tell you that these niggas ain't racist. They just as racist as the Ku Klux Klan is. They
Oh,
are part of
okay.
the system. Just
Then if you're saying
listen.
that they're black white people or that they're on their get out or
Listen to what I'm
whatever,
saying to
that
you.
sure.
Listen to
Okay.
what I'm saying to you. Stop letting these old people tell you that old ass rhetoric like them black folks ain't got no power. They don't use their power. They got power. That nigga over the military, he got power. Them niggas in the Senate and in the House, they got power. And matter of fact, I'm gonna bring it down to Chicago. Don't you think just no white folks run this goddamn city? Okay? I'm telling you, these niggas don't want to use their power. And unless they're using their power to enrich them in their circles. Okay? You're not part of their lodges, them old nigga ass Masons and Eastern Stars. You're not part of that D9 shit. They're not making sure that black people eat. Stop thinking that they ain't got no power. Don't no white folks tell them what to do in this city? Them niggas don't want to do nothing for black people. And y'all keep regurgitating that old ass rhetoric from these old ass niggas. Old nigga gonna tell you they ain't got no power, so they ain't got to do nothing for you.
I
Okay?
don't even think it's that though, Mark. I think it's more about the fact that not I don't I wasn't saying they don't have power. I'm not saying that. They do have power. Their position grants them the power. What I'm saying is they're not people who fuck with us at all. And the reason that they were
I
able to
just
elevate
I can
and
agree with
then
you on that. I can
well,
agree with you on that, but stop saying that they ain't got no power.
just
Okay?
but
they're not racist in the sense that white people will say, well, you're racist because you don't like white people. That's not racist. It's just being a bigot. Like
The white
I
people ain't gonna say it because they working with the white people.
yeah, no,
I'm saying it because they doing it to us.
They are
And
racist.
I understand that
Shit.
now. I get that now.
They
At
are
first, I
racist
didn't understand where you
black
come from.
people. This is black against black bigotry, and we do have hatred, racism. We got all of it, and they're happy to destroy black folks to appease white people. We do have them in abundance. I see racism. It's never used against anyone but other black people. We do this to one, and we do have power. We take life, we molest, we do all kinds of stuff to self. We do have power to hurt self and choose to do it, like this no good sorry ass mayor here who will tell a black senior, a black veteran, to make it on $6 a month on SNAP, and you give an illegal family $500. What is that?
No, hey Randy, watch this here. Go look on them boards. On the boards, all this different shit that's fucking over black people. You ain't never looked at the boards of this stuff. You just see the white face, and you assume that only white people got power. Johnson, that with Jet magazine, he was on every one of them boards while they were discriminating against black people all those years. That motherfucker Jim Reynolds, John Rogers with Ariel Capital, he sits on McDonald's board. He sits on all these different corporations board. Stop letting these people tell y'all they ain't got no power, and definitely stop letting them tell you they ain't got no money. These motherfuckers is just they richer than a whole bunch of these white folks. When you look at the BLC, the Business Leadership Council of Chicago, right? Look it up, the Business Leadership Council. These the richest niggas in Chicago. They make sure they don't have a number of Mexicans and white folks and be hiding downtown. And so when y'all think that they don't have no power, when you look at government, who's doling out the contracts and jobs and shit, that's these niggas, these D9 ass niggas that y'all following up behind.
Yeah, and
Them
brother,
old Greek ass niggas, them niggas blocking the fuck out of black people. How I know? Because goddamn it, we done sued our housing authorities and shit and won hundreds of millions of dollars. And once we get ready to come and get paid for the work that we've done, it be them niggas telling us, you ain't hold your pants up right, so we're gonna hold the money for another 30 days until we start clowning with their ass.
and Mark, I'm in full agreement. I was talking to my colleague about a black dude that was on. He was hired by white folks to provide money to black businesses, and in the entire his career, over a decade or longer, never approved any money to go to any black business in all of America, and that's what they hired him to do. That's how it is at Howard University. That's how it is here in DC. That's how it is in Prince George's County. And it's probably like that in Atlanta and everywhere else, that these people do everything they can to starve, persecute, and punish us. And that's what I'm saying. We must have a,
Ain't that what they doing in Atlanta? Ain't
yeah,
that what them old house
doing
niggas
it,
doing in Atlanta?
they're
Them,
doing
them,
it.
them niggas,
And,
them
and
niggas hate poor black people.
it's
You
just the
know?
same way. It's the same way that that black woman got beat for smoking a spliff in Charlotte. And they just were kicking and beating this black woman on the ground. And the chief of police is black. I mean, it's always. I mean, this is what I just said in my sermon because it's the Sabbath for me. Everything that happens to us, there is an element of our community that's complicit and making certain that it's done. And we, the low hanging fruit in our struggle, are our traders. We can too hurt them, and they do too fuck over us, and we must make them hurt. Because what happens in South Africa and everywhere else, when the people recognize that these Boule people cannot control us, they'll throw them away and they'll be talking to folk like us.
And,
We
and look, and look, and look. And most of them, when you look to see the ones that are in position, they got a white mama, a white daddy.
or a,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
a white lover,
Yeah,
male.
yeah.
Right. Or lover or the lover.
Or the motherfuckers, one of them Caribbeans or Africans, right?
Yeah,
That's
So
that
when you
that
look
too.
at Nicky Barnes and Leslie, them motherfucking immigrants. Those are immigrants. And but second first glance, you think that they one of us. No, them some old goddamn mammies
so
from the Caribbeans, right? And they answer to them white racist ass Zionist Jews. See, y'all think that some Republicans got power in Chicago. Ain't
We
no
gonna call
motherfucking
them
Republicans in
we gonna
power in this
call them
motherfucker.
God's chosen people.
Huh?
yeah, GCP.
GCP.
It's GCP.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to tell
But
y'all, these are Jews, Irish, and mother.
okay, I'm sorry. We gotta keep the language codified because my channel has already been stricken like a bunch of times, and I don't even have a huge following. God's chosen people, if you choose to identify them, you know. And what can they say about that? And Mark, I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying, but we do have some hands up. Sister Miriam, I know you probably have some gems, but I'd like to get to the new speaker to kind of rotate them in and out. So I'm gonna unmute. Mark, please watch your language. Not because I fuck with them, but because they keep fucking with me, you know? And why they do me like that?
Well, you know, I'm 50.
Where'd you go?
It's a double mute.
Oh, well, no,
No, I just want y'all to know, as young people, that you know when you turn 50 years old, you're crazy. You know what I mean? It happens. I admit, I'm kind of crazy, but
no, well,
I'm just
we
saying.
need that energy though.
Yes, I know you need it. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I've been
we
your
need
age
it. So
before. I know you need it. I know you need it, and I know you need it against these people I'm telling you about.
thank you.
Okay, the
I
the the
appreciate
them
that energy.
Zionist Jews,
Hey,
and
look, we just said that. Mark, maybe YouTube will see that I tried, and then that'll matter to somebody.
oh no, you said that's who you calling God's chosen people. Okay, I didn't hear you say that.
Right.
So okay, the guys I can't call them no God's chosen people. So I'm just
Look,
gonna
I
say the
had an
You
small
issue
hats.
with it
I'm
too,
gonna
but
say the
how could you?
small hats
we
in
saying
their mind,
DC.
in their mind, God's chosen people. Then okay, I'll say that
There you
in
go.
their
There you go.
mind, God's
Compromise.
chosen people
But he
in
can
their
say
minds,
CP.
right?
He's
So what y'all see happening to us is these black races and these in their mind, God's chosen people are working together to starve you to death, right? And whenever you speak out on it, if it's a female, then you're a misogynist when you speak out on them. If they're gay, you're homophobic for speaking out on them. If they're the fake God's chosen people, then you're anti-Semitic. If they're an immigrant, they call you xenophobic. You see how that works? You see how they all got something to accuse you of being when you call them out on their bullshit. So what we must do is first separate and segregate from them, because it ain't that many of them. They ain't enough of them to make nothing happen. You know what I'm saying? We rose up on them and tell them to shut up. There ain't nothing they can do about it. But these people have been working with the system to keep you messed all up, and then they convince you to stay away from people like me. But you're only going to be successful with you being around people like us, because they don't get in our business, because they know we come downtown while they smiling in them white folks face, and embarrass them in front of them white folks with them bull horns and all kind of stuff. So they stay out of our way because we old and crazy, right? And so for y'all as young people, don't y'all align yourself with nothing that ain't talking about y'all getting a bunch of money. Them people getting money. They meet about money. They ain't meeting about no women's rights. They ain't meeting about no gay rights. There ain't no money in that stuff. They meeting about money. They don't have abortions because they got so much money. They don't mind having babies. Y'all be having abortions because that boy ain't got no money. Yeah, you messed around and got pregnant by him. And you be thinking like, man, I had this baby and he ain't gonna take care of this baby. But when you have money, you be want to have multiple children. That's one of the forms of contraceptive, the
eugenics.
population control. They keep you broke. When you're broke, you don't want to have no baby because it costs money. But when you having money, you want to have seeds. You want to have a family. You want to own multiple properties. But I'm gonna stop right there. Go ahead.
Unless
That's
you
a
Oprah.
beautiful spot to stop on too, cause damn, that's real. Miriam, I know you want to speak, but I'm gonna get to the brand new person that I've never heard from before, because we don't know who this person is, and I'd love for them to be on code, but maybe they're not. I don't know. We'll see. No Cap Wilkins, the
Just
mic is
see, this
yours.
is No Cap Wilkins. I just I wanted to chime in and say, Mark, there is a lot of things that I did agree with what you were saying, and there is a move to delineate from all of those that have that foreign lineage that tether on to us, cosplaying as us and undermining us, and as well those people like Jim Clyburn, who've been there in a position of power as a gatekeeper who's been undermining us.
Mm.
So there is a conscious effort by Black people all over this app, all throughout this country, who are in agreement with a lot of what you've said because we've been doing that same thing. Um, as far as choosing a political party, you all in here, I know, should realize, if you haven't already, that we are not left wing or right wing. We are the black wing. So when it comes down to us, we've been overlooked for way too long, and we're done with that shit. Excuse my French. So what I'm saying is this: there is ample proof, ample documentation, ample receipts for us to no longer take what we've been given. We've been given a choice of shit sandwiches and vomit soup as far as politically. And what we will show is solidarity, that we will not settle for any of that any longer.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes down to it, like Brother Randy Short said, that shit soup and that shit sandwich and vomit soup. I know that's you. I know that's you, my brother. Um, I am on code, and there's a bunch of us in here that I recognize your PTR, that we are on code. We'll sit back and we'll listen, and we'll chime in and agree. And if we have ideas, we'll share them. Thank you for letting me up.
And I appreciate you being short and sweet and succinct. And to the room, actually, I haven't had a reset or haven't done any of that. So tonight, we're talking about South Carolina because the Democrats want to make an appearance. And I think it's important for us to also make an appearance.
That's
Shout
right.
out to Marcel and Black Alpha Network, who are making an appearance. And if you're in the area or near the area, I say 4 hours. If you're 4 hours away, you can drive if you can, because that's as much as I've driven. I've driven 4 hours. Now, I've also gotten on a plane, but that's just me. And maybe you're not able to do that. But
Hey, what's
you
y'all state
you can
senator
do that.
name down there that's with Clyburn? He a state senator, got a son named Antoine Jackson. What's his name? Do you know who I'm talking about? The
In
black.
South Carolina?
Yeah, he's directly connected with fish frying ass Clyburn. His son name is Antoine Jackson. That's on the app, right? Like them, those are black racists, y'all. They get
Yes.
all the grants through their church. They got a church. I'm gonna look it up. I'll tell you the name of their church, where it is,
They have
all
a
about
crutch.
them.
They don't have a church.
No, they got
They,
a church.
I mean, a
And
crutch.
yeah,
Be a church.
right.
That's me.
So that's who Clyburn gives the money to. Is one of the big churches. He give them the money. So when y'all vote for Clyburn, you voting for him to get rich. Him and his friends. Y'all don't get nothing. Y'all voting for them, and so y'all must rebel against them.
That's
Go
right.
Right.
against all them handkerchiefs.
But I
Okay?
don't think that anybody in this space is actually actively voting for them people. I think that the people who frequent my spaces are more people who are like, we're already knowing that the Democrats and the Republicans don't fuck with us. Now, how do we, if we're so inclined, work inside of the system? I'm a person who is very comfortable allowing the shit to burn because that's just, I believe that we're strong enough to rebuild whatever from whatever. That's just me, and other people might feel the same way, but a lot of people are still voting because they have strong traditional ties and familial ties to the whole voting aspect because their ancestors died. And I will tell them that they died because they were black and they tried to do something about their situation, but they're really stuck on their ancestors died to vote, and because of it they'll go and vote for Big Bird. They'll literally write whatever on the ballot. And I think that that is a waste of time. I really think that we would personally be better off as a people to show them we don't fuck with your system at all. And how do you know? Because none of us showed up. And when we show that type of strength in numbers, then nah, that's when their antennas are going to go up, but then it's going to be too late. So there's a bunch of different ways that we can do it, but I think the people who frequent my spaces are not people who are voting per se, but they are trying to disrupt or at least make it known that the status quo is not good. and it's not going to be good around us.
Okay,
Now,
so
how
let
we
me give you a
fix it,
different. Let me give you another
there we go.
alternative. Let me give you another alternative because you can use all of them, right? But let me give you another alternative, right? Because I didn't had your burn it down mindset. For 25 years, I've been in politics. I've been in activism in politics. And when I was young, crazy, and really wild as hell, I got locked up almost 200 times. But then I started paying attention to the money. And once you start paying attention to that money, and you know how to use the civil rights laws, the HUD laws, and every other law that works in your favor to tap into the money. You got a lot of money coming to your city, county, and your state. It don't just belong to no white folks. The
Let me
money
ask you about
say,
the money, Mark. Let me ask you real quick,
yes, yes.
because in our fight, and me and you are new to each other, so I'm not sure where you fall on this. But Black people who are native to this country are saying that reparations, they need to cut the check, right? And then from there, there's groups of people who say that we need to do it how it tried to be done. We need to have a bureau where they give the bureau the money, and then the bureau disseminates all the money and information, and the Black people can get it from them. I say that they need to run it like the stimulus. They knew who we were and they sent checks to our accounts. There was no
Okay, stop,
question.
stop,
We
stop,
didn't have
stop,
to fill
stop,
out no
stop, stop,
paperwork.
stop.
It's just done.
Stop. You
How,
talking about
how
the
do you feel?
reparations money? You talking about the reparations
Yeah,
money? I'm trying to say.
reparations money. Yes, because
Hold
that's
on.
the only money
How
I'm
much
talking
is your
about.
city
Like,
budget? How much is your city budget?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay, so and 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 everybody in this room, listen to what the hell I'm saying to y'all. Money ain't just the reparations money. Every single damn year, your city passes a budget, and that budget is translated into contracts,
Hmm.
grants, jobs, all of that. What them old sellouts ain't gonna never show y'all how to do is go get the money.
Okay, so my city budget was 100 million, 1 billion, $1.5 billion in 2022.
Now you see how that work. You see all that money. Now that's just one budget. I
So
ain't got to
that
your
budget, what are you saying with that budget? They're supposed to give us that budget? Because I say that the way that they
yes.
spend money, sure, look, so, but that's not really answering my question. How should we get the money? Now
I'm
that
trying to
we've
tell you.
established that we're going to get the money,
I'm trying to tell you.
go ahead.
Okay. And I'm not telling you
Well, wait,
something
wait,
that we.
wait. I guess
Uh-huh.
that's why I got confused. It's starting to sound like you're saying that we need to get like programs and stuff.
No, you need to get some businesses, programs, and everything else, and you tap into that titty. That's a titty. That's a
Okay,
one.
it's a titty that can be tapped, but no, where is my money?
I'm
They
trying.
took our
I,
money. They need
I,
to give me
I
my
got you.
money.
Why you waiting on that money? You want to get all the money, right? You don't just want to wait on one piece of money, right?
Right. So they need to
Okay, so
start by cutting a check. Same
I,
way that
I,
they cut the
I
stimulus. They cut the DACA checks. They cut
do you want to
Ukraine
learn how to
checks.
make some money right now? Or you just want to, you know what I'm saying? Just you want to talk about this shit. I'm trying to.
Don't be rude, because I'm entertaining this, even though I, I don't think
I
you
know I'm
hearing
not
me.
being rude. I'm just saying
How are
to
you
you.
talking on
I'm
mute?
trying to teach you how to get the money.
How? Okay, so that's interesting. Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you call yourself. I'm talking about one thing, and then we have a person who's talking about something else. And it might sound like we're talking about the same thing, but I say cut the check to me because I'm owed and y'all are owed. And Mark is saying that we need to get the money from the government, and then they also need to cut us a check. I'm gonna let him come back and say if that's true or not. But why is it that you start talking about programs, I mute you, but you're still able to talk? That's gotta be some that's just gotta be some op shit. Not calling you an op, Mark. I'm just saying they're listening to us and they know how to interrupt our spaces. Dewan, I co-hosted you because you feel me most of the time.
Yeah, I feel you here because at the end of the day, right, your question needs to be answered because both are true. We do need to get better ways of finding the local money in our cities. Yet at the same time, politics is local and national. Local cities, while I'm getting the money, we still need to organize and rally around how we're gonna get this federal bread. And that's not waiting. That's planning. Because nothing happens off top. That's years and years of coordinating, planning, years and years of lost elections, years and years of disappointments and almost. And it's a steady mission, but it's something that has to be addressed day by day. You can no longer put it off. The city money, look, if we were gonna get the city money that's been there, we'd already got it, or found ways to get around getting it. Like I know here in LA, I have businesses, and I used to be the business banking manager in Inglewood, California, at Washington Mutual Bank before gentrification, back when Inglewood was still 80% black. He, and when it comes to the programs, when it came to all those stuff, black people can get it, but how they played it out here, the percentages of black people who got any level of money was minuscule relative to the amount that applied for it. Even the ones who knew everything on how to do things would find ways to not get the money. And I was the person that was in charge of doling out the money. A lot of the state and city programs were run through my bank. So that's how they do it out here. They'll have a certain program, and then Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or some kind of bank, they'll underwrite the program, and then you go through that bank to get access. That's some of the programs that they have out here. I can tell you right now. Ask me how many black businesses in Inglewood, California, that was 80% black, got some of that money that we had to hand out of hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I can name it on less than one hand, and I won't even include my thumbs. So that's why, the conversation about federal reparations, that has to be addressed and it has to be talked. We can no longer deflect from that. What I mean, I think the only reason why we haven't gotten it is because we deflect, and because we don't focus on it. And while we're talking about federal reparations, we can still have space to talk about how to get this money now too. But if the question is on federal reparations, let's answer that question. And then once we figure that out, we can still at the same time also talk about how to get stuff locally. And everybody's going to have to learn their city. Every city operates a little bit differently. Even within the same county, Long Beach operates a little bit different than Inglewood, which operates different than Gardena, which operates different than LA. So that right there is something that we have to all be serious about, and find the politics of our local city, do our best to find the money. But me being someone who worked at the bank for 5 years, and I am a business owner. Listen to what Tariq is saying about he opened up the damn museum. There's all kind of museum money here in LA. You think they gave that black man any of that museum money that they have out here? You got the museum of sex, the museum of they get the city giving out grants to the museum of motherfucking paperback books, the museum of dinosaur rocks, nigga. That all them motherfuckers getting grant money, and so that's what that is a reality that we have to confront. And because that is a reality, not saying it stops us, because we can still get through it in some ways. Some of us will, but since why do we have to be the people who only the cream of the crop gets through? When I look at some of the other people we used to hand out money to at the bank, these are some average Joe, regular motherfuckers that didn't even have their paperwork in order, and didn't even necessarily on paper qualify for what we was offering. They still got the money. So that's part of the reason why that conversation about federal reparations has to be discussed on its own and addressed, because it shouldn't be, since these cities and local governments have made it to where a black person don't get a dime unless they are, a son of Moses and a child of God, while other people get to get access to money, and they get to be the devil's best friend. There you go. Here's $18 billion for you. Go look up them Armenian motherfuckers that ran out of LA with $18 million from COVID money. When black businesses had my black business had its shit in order, my paperwork been together since 2016. I couldn't get none of that motherfucking COVID money, and I applied, and I had my paperwork right. I got some money, but I didn't get none of that payback, none of that money to where you couldn't. I got the loans the way it was a loan. They made that shit hard to the motherfucker us on our black. The goddamn Armenians got $18 million and ran their asses back over to the Middle East. You know what I mean? So that's why the conversation about federal reparations has to be discussed when that conversation is in it, along with the local politics. So I hear what you're saying, Eve.
I appreciate that assist. And Mark, I hope that you were able to understand where we're coming from, because at the end of the day, they need to cut the check and they need to do programs. And I've been at my state's reparations task force meetings. They won't even call it a reparations task force in Virginia. They call it this other name that It's like the study slavery, de jure, de facto, African American. It's a whole bunch. It's like 15 different words that all mean that they're trying to figure out how not to pay us. Because every time we go to these meetings, they're telling us that cutting a check is not feasible. But these programs that are going to take years to, establish and fund and find people to work, those are more feasible versus a check that is something you can do tomorrow. Dr. Short, I see your hands up. Miriam's hand was up first, and I don't know if you want to let her go first, but
Let the doctor go first so I can go after him.
okay, Dr. Short, the mic is yours.
Oh, it wouldn't let me open up. She can go first, but I'll say this and I can hold. Brother Dewan B said something that's very important, and I keep using this language. Pardon me, Sister Eva, I'm going to say it once. As long as we have a culture where we hate low income blacks, we hate each other for what we've never had that's been stolen from us, it's a contradiction. We look at each other and blame one another for what's been done to us instead of trying to heal one another. Other people try to help each other out, which is why I see people who can't even speak English with contracts and jobs because the Catholic Church, the Orthodox Church for the Ethiopians and the Armenians, they've got an institutional thing that helps them. These black churches and organizations, these elite boule people do not want. They know how to get the stuff through and will not do it for others. They will not compete with any other group of people. There's asymmetrical class warfare in our community between the so-called successful blacks, who are the greatest separatists. They're greater separatists than white racists. They don't want us to have anything. All the while, they've demanded reparations and a reallocation of wealth from white to black in the name of black people, but they've only kept it among our sellout traitor boule 1%. And if anyone wants to do something on procurement, brother Mark, brother Dewan, you really need to talk with the lady I work with. One of the things that's happened with procurement, this is how dirty it is. There have been people who've gotten the contracts, and the only way that they would give the money was they had to have someone that was a GCP lawyer, because they would refuse the money that the government said give to them, even when it was set up for them to have. The people within the system, the GCPs and others, refused. They broke the law. Simply wouldn't give it to them. Would give it to another group of GCPs. There is a war against us. However, if we coalesce, we can break the backs of the people who are doing this to us, but we can no longer, as black men, and I'm going to say this, the brotherfucker ball hog culture of black men must die so our race can live. I need you, Brother Dewan. I thank God for you. I need Mark. We have to band together as an army. When you look at sports for other people, it is preparation for warfare. Sports for us is to get white babes with big boobs and flat butts and Italian sports cars. We have to create a, a program and a strategy for economic warfare that will empower us, and it can be done. I don't have all the answers, but if enough of us, just a few, put their heads together, if we just did it in one city or one place, it could be replicated the same way the Cubans went in and thugged out Miami. You can't tell me that we don't have enough black talent, both criminal and otherwise, that we couldn't get some MFM. I'm gonna land my plane.
I appreciate that, Dr. Short. Miriam, it's yours. And then we will kick it back to Mark. But we do have a new speaker on stage. Jelly has been sharing some stuff in the chat comment section. Jumbo. I'm not sure, but I think it was relevant to the conversation. So I do want to hear what Chili has to say as well. But go ahead, Miriam. It's yours.
Hmm. A lot was said. Thank you again, Eve, for the space. Shout out to you, Brother Dewan B, for hosting, co-hosting. And you brothers are really hitting a lot of good, subjects, the nails on the head, what have you, and yourself as well, Sister Eve. And I would like to just add on further to what it was that our brother, Dr. Randy Short, was just speaking on, and something others alluded to earlier in this space. We cannot forget that we have two forms of gatekeepers, okay? We have the gatekeepers that we are pushing, the Black grassroots, reparations for our tangibles, for our protections, um, and to combat white supremacy and systemic, um, racism. And then you have the gatekeepers who were put in place. These people were put in place um, to make sure that they keep us in a certain standard, either right at poverty or below poverty. And they also are there to keep us from advancing unless you are jumped into their club or married into their families. And they are done through some of our so-called legacy institutions. Um, Again, the NAACP, the Urban League, and oh my goodness, it's so many more. Um, and a lot of our, unfortunately, HBCUs. Um, we just have to realize and come to that realization, because, like, I was having a conversation with someone earlier in the week, and I was like, we have all these organizations, right? But what have they done for our communities? Even the ones when they were started in the early beginning did a little something, but they got co-opted and infiltrated way in the late 60s. And you got to understand that that had happened, and they haven't done a darn thing for us and ours since. They've been co-opted. And it's just, seem like it's difficult for some people to get that through their heads. Well, it's not up for us to make it touch all the masses. We can only deal and do with the people who are awakened by the call, or who take this mustard seed and who plant it and watch it grow and flourish. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. And it's just what it is. So we have to deal with those of us who have similar mindsets, not saying that we're just one-minded and we're just and amoeba, if you will. No, but we need to move in unison to accomplish things when it comes to us giving pushback to this government, because um our hand is powerful. But when it's closed and made into a fist, that's when it's its most powerful. So we definitely have to move in that vein, and remember that we have to hit this government on all fronts, because they do have such gatekeepers and tools in place. And unfortunately, people who look like they're skin folks, but they not kin folks. They're not of our lineage, and that's a lot of what has happened. And then you have, of course, your classic bootlicks, but these others that come from throughout the Caribbean and African diaspora have done so much detriment to our communities, because they were handpicked and put into these places, and or they pretended to pass themselves off, and two, they got in positions to kind of reveal who and what they are. So you had the double operative amongst us, and some of our greatest movements and some of our greatest organizations. So therefore we have to make sure that no one is above being vetted, checked, or wrecked. You know what I'm saying? So, and when it comes to us in our own lineage, we do it with grace. But if you are a traitor and a turncoat, you will be put out to dry as far as aired out in media. We will make sure we boycott anything that you are behind. You will lose money just like you make us not eat and starve. You get to not eat and starve. We will run you the hell out of town by any means necessary on the political front, and we will do it legally, loudly, and proudly, as we, as Foundation of Black American Freedmen, always do. That is what we must do and have to do, and we will continue to do, because we cannot allow these sleeper cells or and their children, like Clyde Bowen and his daughter. He wants his daughter to be the next successor, so you could push more your daddy. Let me be nice about it. um, you know, um, Negroism around. We're not going for that. We don't have time for Uncle Ruckus and his ilk. We have to call that out and make sure that we shine a light on it. You know what happens when you shine lights on pests and parasites? They scatter like the bugs that they are, and they run from the darkness because they can't show their heads or their faces or stand firm in truth. So we gonna shine light on that and keep it forward. And I'm in agreement in a lot with what Brother Mark was saying, but I have my own mind, and this is critical thinking. Some things I'm in disagreement with, but we're not one monolith, aren't we? So the spice of variety in the room and added to the conversation, I think is wonderful, and I yield my time. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Miriam. And I'd like the room to hone in on something that she was talking about and something that has been talked about already. And it's how we use our vote. Now, you can go vote for somebody who's doing something for you. But if the people on the ballot aren't doing anything for you, what do? My answer is you hold that vote. Why? Because there's nothing on the ballot for you to vote for. These people keep telling us what to vote against, but they're not telling us what we're getting. And then you start looking at what you're getting, and it's like, that sounds like shit cereal. And I don't eat my Wheaties like that. Sheila Jackson Lee, Sheila Lee, that's how she'll be um, referred to from now on. She lost her race because Black people didn't show up, not because people voted for. That's how you lose. People don't show up for you, and that I think we can use her as a very recent example of the people we've been talking about and how they've been in positions of power and they're not doing anything. So if you're not going to do anything, then no, we don't want you in this position of power. And how do we do that? Well, I think Marcel's way is a good way. You got to try to replace them, but until you can get in there, fuck them. There's nobody there for you. That's
Eve,
how I feel.
to go on what's going on with what you're saying, here in California, we made two angry moves. That we were angry at the Democrats, Gray Davis, when he kind of fucked the state over, that made us angrily vote for Schwarzenegger. And that Republican motherfucker was the worst goddamn thing that ever happened to this goddamn state, But it was for a while the Democrats fell out of favor. Same thing with Tom Bradley. We had the black mayor, Tom Bradley, and the LA riots happened under Tom Bradley. And so out of like us having a mindset of, okay, these Democrats ain't doing nothing for us, and these black folks ain't doing nothing for us, then with the protest vote or the people voting for the other side instead like you said, abstaining and letting them folks fight it out, a lot of us voted up for Reardon. And Reardon is a person that set the groundwork in because he owns so much land here in LA. He was the person that set the groundwork for mass gentrification. So out of saying, okay, I'm going to vote for the other guys to pin it on you, we voted in our like we just voted in their homeboy. They just played good cop bad cop on our asses, and we got fucked both times. Then when the Democrat came over, they finished the fucking, and so it was fucked either way you go. But that's a consequence of jumping on the side, just because of you're angry at the other side. You'll end up jumping on your demise. That's why I'm with you on that abstaining. When people when even our senators, our congress people, when they want to make a point, when there's something on the agenda that doesn't advance their agenda, that doesn't help them in any way, shape, or form, you just don't vote. And I'm going to leverage this and hold it, and I'm going to hold this thing as precious, and I'm going to keep holding it until you come to me, because at some point you're going to need me, no matter how small our numbers get. Still gonna need us at some point because all you motherfuckers is proving all you do is fight. Only time these crackers ever come together is against us. So they don't agree on shit. So no matter what our numbers are, they're gonna have to come to us. But if we over here voting out of one versus the other, I saw it happen live and in action here in California. Then Republicans came in and swept the fuck, then took all the goddamn money. It made you need the Democrats. Like, oh, the Democrats saying, okay, yeah, we gonna do this, that, and this, and we gonna give you motherfuckers $2. Then Republicans starved us so goddamn much, we couldn't wait to get them $2 goddamn dollars. And them niggas ended up giving the Mexicans $1.80 and us 20 cents. You know what I mean? That's how it works out when you over here playing one against the, when you don't have that leverage. You know what I mean? So I think abstinence is key, but that's just my opinion based on what I've experienced.
Absolutely. And we're not telling you what to do over here as much as just, have your own thought. You already have your own thoughts. I don't need to tell you that. You woke up with your own thoughts. Jelly, the mic is yours. You've been very patient. And then Mark, we're gonna get back to you. But Jelly, go ahead.
What's going on, everybody? I hope y'all are doing well. I am a Carolina girl, and I kind of like what's happening in South Carolina right now. I think that we're going through I think we're going through. I actually think that we're establishing ourselves as the next Black Mecca, to be honest. But what I had put in the chat, what I had put in the chat is pretty much just a breakdown of the politics and the politicians of South Carolina. Our Senate and our House of Reps. And I think a lot of times what happens is we get so focused on Jim Clyburn and Tim Scott that we actually don't be realistic about some of the issues that's going on in South Carolina. At the Reparations Task Force, we need to be focused. Jim Clyburn only has a certain portion of Richland County, but the main things that he does have, aren't. When it comes to Jim Clyburn, this won't be. We can't allow Richland County to paint the narrative of Jim Clyburn's career in politics. Calhoun County, Jasper County, Bamberg, Allendale, these are the problems and these are his main center. So what he does is he focuses on the revenue from Richland County and the things that's happening there as far as the northeast side of Columbia being completely, I never seen a Black Wall Street because I really only ever been alive now. But I would say that the northeast side of Columbia is turning into a Black Wall Street right in front of my face. And what's happening is that Jim Clyburn is using that portion to sort of lie about his career within politics. And we need to make sure that the policy at the reparations meeting that we address some of these things. Sorry, my mind is a little bit confuddled now that I'm talking. Also, they need to answer something about that hospital on Bull Street. The amount of war crimes that were committed there will make the reparations case for us in itself. And they need to be talking about that, talking about the fact that they turned it down and turned it into apartments, talking about what they did in Allen Benedict Court as far as having a gas leak sit somewhere for a whole year and people are dying. And then now you you're trying to, you move all those people to a completely different area. You have them homeless in the streets and you're only giving half of, it's just terrible. So we have to. There are some reparations claims that are literally happening in Columbia right now. There's reparations claims that are literally happening in Calhoun County. Horry County is covered by. Sorry, I'm talking about it while I'm looking at this so that I can.
Jelly, look, I don't
Yeah.
want you to focus too hard on that because the information is there for the people who want to get it. Like you've posted it. I appreciate that. I think the point that you've been making that we get so hyper focused on one when it's a lot of people that we can be focused on. Dr. Short spoke to that earlier, so I don't know if you were in the space, but I'm glad you're bringing it back to that because as it stands, if you're not a person who's able to go and turn your back, give them that show of fuck you to their face, you can call. Like I've been on telephone trees where we've called offices and they've been like, what is wrong with y'all today? Like, I don't understand why today is the day that y'all decide to tie up our lines, but we trying to go to lunch. Like, what's
Yeah.
up? But, so I appreciate that you've posted
And then
the
I
the
think
people, but you can finish your thought. Go ahead.
yeah, one other thing that I wanted to talk about if you're in South Carolina and you're trying to like establish yourself in either politics or in the economics of it, you need to be trying to tie yourself to some of these HBCUs, because the thing that the cities are not talking about is they're trying to they're trying to build agro hoods and tech hubs around South Carolina, and they're tying it to the HBCUs. And if we don't pay attention to that money, they're going to fuck us out of not only the land for it, they're going to fuck us out of the opportunities and the ability to be able to set a standard within our own schools by becoming, kind of becoming professors. I do farming, and so y'all trying to give 50 acres to Clinton College here in Rock Hill, and I do farming, and you think that I'm not gonna you think you're really gonna push me out of establishing an agro business sector within Clinton and agro politics? That's dumb. So if you're trying to establish yourself here in South Carolina, get with other people who are trying to do stuff, because they trying to lock us out of acres upon acres upon acres in different areas of South Carolina. And that is going to be our generation's wealth.
Thank you for those thoughts, Jelly. And I don't know if you said or not, are you able to go to any of these events that we've been talking about this weekend? I mean, I don't know if you live near or whatever, but do you think that that would matter to show them, like how Bloomberg got shown in real time that they were not rocking with him? Like, I think that if any type of symbol, those are the type of symbols we need. We don't need Black Lives Matter painted on the ground. We need Black people showing them together a resounding fuck you, unless you're going to do what we're asking you to do. So is
Yeah,
that something that you...
I've been so focused on the little Clinton College connections thing, that I've been kind of out of the loop. So if somebody can send me all of these events, I mean, obviously I'm gonna go to the task force meeting on the 15th. But if
That,
somebody
hey,
can send me the
that
rest,
matters even for
I'll
sure.
do what I can do.
And if that's the only thing that you went to, shout out to you, because at least here in Virginia, they're not making it easy for us to get to these meetings, because they don't really post them until it's like the week of. And then if you have to travel, or if you have a family like I do, with 5 minis in school, and then it's hours away. We've been to all of them, but I'm just saying, or at least all of the ones that we've known about. So I will, if you can't see them in the jumbo, I'll send you a DM. But I think Emmanuel, AME, Zion, and I will send it to you, but it is in the jumbo in one of those slides. Uh, Mark, you've been very patient. I appreciate your patience. Before you, I don't even know what you're about to respond to. Here, I have a direct question for you about our payment. If we have to share it with Black people who are not from here, do you think that we should get it? Or should we be of a mindset that if it's not for us only, that it's not reparations?
Oh, it's definitely for us only. I mean, it's no compromise. CARICOM is not pushing for Caribbeans to share reparations with us. And so you must oppose anything Pan Africanists are pushing, from Cam Howard to Ron Daniels and all the rest of those dashiki wan niggas. You know what I'm saying? Don't listen to them. Okay? And they're gonna try to get you to buy into that Pan Africanism. That's anti-black. Okay? Caribbeans and Africans hate your black ass. And
Can
and and, and
can I tell
go
you
ahead.
something, Brother Mark? You're so right about Scam Daniels. Do you know Scam Daniels is helping to fight to push LGBTQ in Uganda?
Yes, and also MacArthur Foundation. He had a meeting up here with MacArthur Foundation along with Narcan and Cobra. So Ron Daniels' organization is called IBW, Institute
Yeah,
of Black
to the
Institute of
Black world.
right. So let me tell you what he came here, and I want y'all to understand this. Most of y'all leaders from y'all cities come to Chicago to meet with all the rest of the thieves, and then they go back to y'all cities and mess over y'all. So
That's
Ron Daniels came here and finagled $3 million out of MacArthur Foundation, and the plan and the money was given for non-lobbying activities around reparations. So in other words, they paid them to do once again what they've been doing um, for 40, 50 years, and that is play like they're fighting for reparations. They're not fighting for reparations.
and excuse me. Is Titi Taifa part of it? And I'm going to say something here in the room. Um, I wish this wasn't the case, and I'm not trying to attack anybody, but Cam Howard is working with reparations, Brother Mark, and there are people we deal with who feel that Cam Howard is basically the greatest thing ever. And
No, no, no. He's not.
I,
Let's
hold on,
you.
I know that. Look, it ain't me. There's just one other piece. I'm going to say this, and I'll put it out. Cam Howard is working with Marcel. And so there's some very insane things going on of how much bowel movement one has to swallow to work with people. Got to deal with the crazy sexuality, got to deal with the voodoo, and I got to deal with the Pan Africanists. We've got some deal breaking behavior for people in this damn movement that doesn't make any sense. And some of us trying to be true, when we find out how people are, we step away from, we don't, I don't want to talk about this, but I was invited into a space and you tell me he's there. And just a few months ago, we were opposing the bullshit that they did at Morgan State, where him and that nigga up at Morgan State University, you know who I'm talking about, who was down at Fisk. What's this Negro's name? There's a whole group of them. And Kichi Taifa, who used to work for George Soros, she was with the Open Society. There's a group of them. And God, I can't remember this fool's name, but he teaches sociology at Morgan State, University of Maryland at Morgan State. And God, I can't remember this fool's name. And I'm seeing him. Wait a minute, it'll come to me. What this dude wears dreads and all this kind. They always wear the
You talking
dashikis.
about Big Bird?
No, not Big Bird. He used to beat. He tried to throw boiling hot water on my cousin, who was his baby. Not Big Bird. He runs with Big Bird. Him and Big Bird could be. Damn it! Come on, somebody help me. He's at Morgan State. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And I hate that. This is what I hate about black people. Some of us have to remember all this goddamn data. Somebody else knows that the niggas at Morgan State, he's in sociology, he's in this scam Pan African group. And we can't, this is something a lot of younger folks need to step up on information, okay? Because they need to do more. Because our stuff's not gonna remember. What is this fool's name? Damn, I can't remember this fool's name. I can remember everything about this person. I can't remember their damn name. But they teach sociology at Morgan State. Someone look up Morgan State and check out this sociology department. His name's not sticking to me. Hold on, let me look it up so I can get this Negro's name. Damn.
I'm looking it up. Go ahead. Keep going on your point. I'm gonna find him.
They had this thing, and it's all being set up. Well, no, they all work together, Wilkins. There is a conspiracy against us, and a lot of us are allied with people who are betraying us in real time. And everyone can see it, and we're acting like we have this stuff on one point. When someone betrays us, people need to set that person's ass aside. Okay? I mean, there's no reason on God's earth that this gets to happen when you learn this stuff and people continue to deal with them. And let me see, let me get this nigga's name because I'm trying. Hold on, what's this
Every
dude's?
time I unmute, my oven's beeping. The department. Malcolm Drury. I don't think you're talking about him.
No, I'm
And
not talking about Malcolm Jewelry.
Leon Wilson. Those are the
Now,
only two black people that are pulling up on the faculty website. It's
no, no,
really
no.
strange.
Hold on. No, there's another nigga in there. And God, and this is what I hate because these people show up every now and then. They fly below the radar, and they show up at these events as talking heads for black people. This is what Mark is talking about, and he's
And you're
right.
not talking about Winbush, right? That's not.
Yes.
That's Big Bird, Dr. Short.
Okay. Well, see, there's another Big Bird. Big Bird is also Mark Thompson. So you have to have there's Big Bird was somebody else. So there's two Big Birds.
But see, you got Ron Daniels who sits at the top, right?
Yeah,
So
Ron,
Winbush,
he's a piece of shit.
yeah, oh, what,
All,
all of
all
them,
of them are,
all of them.
all of
See,
them are together.
see, Winbush was real close to Conrad World.
Right.
Conrad World,
I
right,
understand
right.
that. And
See,
he's a coon that, and then Cobra in Chicago. Everything
right.
comes through Chicago, I'm with you. Just what happens is there's a fast track between Chicago and DC.
And New York, because Ron
Right,
Daniels comes
but
out of New York, right?
no, but for black people, it
Mhm.
goes from Chicago straight to DC.
Right, right.
That
But let me finish saying this part here, right? So when you look at Wimbush,
Pimpwood.
Conrad World, right, and I'm gonna show y'all the connection, right?
Hold on,
So
before your connection, because Mark Thompson and Winbush, they look the same.
I
These
told
hoods
you they
look
look
now
the
alike.
same.
Wimbush is the old one
But
though.
I
Wimbush is
couldn't
older.
remember the.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's just my fault. Go ahead.
I know both of them. I said they look alike. I just couldn't remember the
But
damn.
Wimbush is older though.
I
Okay.
know he's older and
Hmm.
more crooked.
Right. So let me say this about them. So just think about the African American Family Commission, for example. This was the overseer organization for, just say, the Catholic Church, who had all those black children that they were getting through DCFS. When those children were being raped and all kinds of stuff, man, kids had gonorrhea all in their throat, all type of shit from them sick ass Catholics. It was Conrad World, Leonard Muhammad from the Nation of Islam, Dr. Carl Bell, the so-called top psychiatrist. I forgot the attorney name. Standish Willis. All these dudes. These are all your old nigga hustlers of America.
Yes.
Ron Daniels out of New York. What's the old lady name? The old lady in the dashiki. She always stayed to the back, but she's part of it too. And
Nkechi, her name is Nkechi Taifa.
no, that's the young girl. I'm talking about the old one, the old lady.
And
So
Nkechi is older than we are, man. She's in her 60s or 70s.
no, this lady here, you know what I'm saying? She's in her 80s, like Ron Daniels. But all of them. So we ain't got to get off just so much into the names, more so than what y'all must understand is that these are the people. And I'm gonna turn my crazy down a little bit so y'all can hear me a lot easier, right? Better. Look, these are the people that work side by side with those wish they were God's chosen people.
GCPs.
So what they're doing now is firing them here in Chicago because they can't control us. You can't call no Jesse Jackson on us. Nobody. All right. Now, Chicago is the hub because all your national organizations, for the most part, are headquartered here. The Nation of Islam is headquartered here. Operation Push is headquartered here. The Hebrew Israelites, the Moorish Americans, the Pan Africanists, the AKAs, all those organizations are headquartered here, not just a branch. This is the headquarters for these organizations. And the reason why most of them don't say a damn thing about what's happening is because members of those organizations work for government. And
That's
that
right.
includes the Nation of Islam too. Okay? They ain't special either. And so whereas you will have a Minister Farrakhan that'll tell them to go and step out and help the people, he's an older dude. He can't see what they doing or whether they doing it or not. He's somewhere in the house because he's 90 some years old. So they play like they gonna do it and they come out and they don't do a damn thing. So we start seeing this as we grew older and say, you know what, let's get the fuck away from these so-called national nigga organizations. They up with the bullshit.
Hmm.
The members, the ones that have these slots for them, they meet with government and all of that. And so when you look at who's getting the city jobs, who's getting the grants, who's getting the contracts, these are the very people that the guy here, the one from California, for example. These people getting contracts that I'm speaking of, but when it got down to him and his peers, they don't get it. They don't
Yes.
get the grants. They don't get the contracts. The Mexicans getting the grants and contracts, the Romanians that he spoke of. But him working at the bank, he got what they call the one. Tell him what CRA and the HMDA is. The one. Is he here?
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, okay. Well, when he come back, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So, and so, with these organizations, y'all, they're the ones that work for government that are blocking y'all. These are the Clyburns and the people that are connected to the Clyburns. So when you look at your budget, right? So when we look at our taxing bill, these are all the budgets that have contracts and jobs. The water reclamation, city colleges, the housing authority, the park district, the city budget in itself, the transportation authority, your public schools system. All of these that I just named to you, they have their own separate budgets. And those are contracts, jobs, and opportunities that if y'all know how to use laws like the Civil Rights Act, like the HUD Act, you can force them to the table. This is beyond their power. I don't care what they say. There ain't no money or they ain't what they ain't gonna do. You file a suit against them. You file complaints against them. Okay? When you file those suits and those complaints, they got to go before judges. They got to go before hearing officers and answer to why they're not giving y'all none of this money. The HUD Act says 10% of the total dollar amount of every contract must go to a Section 3 business concern for low and very low income people. And I'm talking about they making millionaires. You can make millionaires using those laws. All right.
I
So as you fight for, so I brought up
I
about
heard
see
I heard you right about. I was away from my phone, but I heard you about the CRA part.
and
You ain't
HMDA, not just
you
CRA, but the HMDA too.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that because they have those institutions, and here in California, we've actually sued up on those lines and won. You know, I actually was a beneficiary of one of those lawsuits. The one good thing Kamala Harris did was the biggest settlement in California history had to go about them violating those requirements to specifically black. Most, of course,
Right.
they didn't mention black people, but black people were like 70% of the settlements. You know
Right.
what I mean?
When you look at the Community Reinvestment Act report, you will see that black people receive less loans under the HMDA. You'll see they receive less home mortgages and everything. And just the mere fact that you go into the bank, and I want y'all to try this when I'm telling y'all, go do it. Go to any bank and you go ask for who's in charge and tell them you want to see the CRA evaluation and you want to see the HMDA report. It's gonna change all. They're gonna get the him and the hun, but by law they gotta show it to you. Okay. Now, when you start asking for this kind of shit, then the game changes. You ain't just no little young activist talking shit. I'm telling you what we do. This is how we make money. Use laws. Okay. We enforce laws. The HUD Act under Title 6 and Title 7. When they're doing transportation projects and things like that, they got to cut you in. Ain't no telling you ain't got nothing coming. But you're not using the laws because they don't teach you how to use them.
And what's it
The
called,
the the
Mark? What are you? The
HMDA,
Humdy
the Home
report?
Mortgage Disclosure Act, Home Mortgage Disclosure Act,
Home mortgage.
yes, and then the
Okay.
Community Reinvestment Act. And so what you want to ask
CRA.
for is the Community Reinvestment Act evaluation and the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act report, the HMDA report and the CRA evaluation. When you ask for this kind of shit, I don't give a shit who they think they are, what all the shit that they talk. If they don't show it to you, then you file a goddamn complaint against their ass. Okay? And you make sure that you CC the Office of Bank and Real Estate within your state. Mhm.
Mark,
Yes.
here's my issue with this. I'm starting to look into
Yes.
it, and this is the trick bag that we always get seen. Black people should not have to work for something that's already owed. And the Community Reinvestment Act, it says that it's to help meet the needs of borrowers, including low and moderate income neighborhoods. Basically, it's on some Black people are poor, so we should be able to get funds because we're poor. I'm saying that they need to cut the check for
Well,
what's
until they
owed
cut the check,
first,
until
and
while
then
you wait for them to cut the check, you see, you're gonna use both angles. Don't get stuck on one, okay? Because one may take longer than the other. Don't get stuck on one. While you fighting toward the one that's taking longer, you making them cut you in on the right now money. Okay? There's a thing called right now money. And the stuff I'm telling you about, you ain't gonna learn this from no Tariq Nasheed, Umar Johnson, the other girl with ADOS. They don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. They don't know shit about what I'm talking about. Okay? This ain't what they do. They do other stuff. When it comes to this right now money, you could bring all three of them in the room and I would school their ass, and then they'd be more powerful than they are than they are already. They'll have more information. So this is their right now money. So while you going to all them task forces, the Mexicans ain't going to no task forces in California. They didn't go to no task forces. Wasn't no committee or nothing, a commission or none of that set up. When these immigrants walking into this country, they ain't going through no commission. They got the office of New Americans set up for them to walk in and get everything that they need. And so on top of you going at the contracts, you must also say to them, y'all gonna give us an office for descendants of slavery. Now, everything is a fight now. Don't think it's just gonna come easy. So everything's a fight. Even getting the contracts.
Dr. King says we can't wait, Mark. I'm sorry.
You
I
you you
can't
you you you
can't
gonna wait.
get
You gonna
past
wait whether you
this.
want to wait anyway. It ain't gonna just.
But that's the thing. If we got people doing it the way you're saying it, and then people trying to do it the way that I'm saying it, and I know that the way that you've been saying it and the way that you're saying it is how they want us to go about it, which is wait for the check. And while you wait for the check, we're going to give you programs. We're going to
No, you're
give you
getting it wrong.
schools. We're
You're
going
getting
to
it
give
wrong. What
you.
I'm saying.
I hear you, Mark.
No,
But
I'm
at
not talking
least
about no
for.
programs.
Do you see how that happens? I mute him. And when he's talking about programs, he's allowed to talk still. That happened twice. That's not me. That's Oppie. Again, Mark, I'm not saying that it's you. I'm just saying, like, damn, my control should be able to control the room. I don't want to belabor this. I say they need to cut the check. Mark says get the programs while we're waiting for them to cut the check. Okay, both. All of it, fine. But I think that Foundational Black American would be better off if we had one sound, at least for 1 second, and it was for them to cut the check. That is right now money. The same way that these immigrants are coming over here by the thousands and have Jordans and fresh kicks and rides. Have you seen these people? They got cars already. They got places to go, places to stay. There's homeless Foundational Black Americans right now. I can walk out my house a mile and happen across a nigga who's supposed to be here who doesn't have a house. When I can go in the same direction and see people who have houses and they're not supposed to be here. The math ain't mathin' to me. And maybe the maths to you. It just depends on how you're going about it, I think, at the end of the day. So, Mark, I appreciate your conversation this afternoon, this evening, as it's been a few hours now. If you have any closing thoughts, I'm gonna let you do that. But to my co-host, if you have any, Dr. Short, I know you might have some follow-up thoughts. Miriam, you still on the stage. Ashley, I don't know you. So while I research who you might be, I'm a pause on giving you the mic. But if you seem like a person who's not crazy, I'm gonna throw you the mic. But in the meanwhile, here we go. Unmute. Mark, you
So I'll
there?
close out. So you're not gonna wake up in the morning and get the reparations check. Let's be clear on that. And unless you rise up, it's gonna still take a little longer, right? I get you. I'm in agreement with you. If it was just that simple, wake up in the morning, cut the check, and they cut it. I mean, but none of it is gonna be as simple as we think it is. It's gonna be a fight. When you're saying cut the check, it ain't gonna happen just like that. You're not even taking and rising the people up and making them cut the check. You just saying cut the check. They're not gonna just do that. They're not gonna do right. They weren't put there to do right. They were put there to lie to you, make you wait.
I appreciate that, Mark. What we're not going to do is we're not going to disparage people who are speaking up. They will cut the check because the fuck we said so. I'm black and I said so, and it's stronger than the people with these fragile genes and people who can't do things, people who have to fight the fight unfairly. Have you noticed that? They can't fight us one on one. And that's no shade to anybody who might be in the room who doesn't have melanin if you're, doing the work. Okay, I hate that I have to disclaim things sometimes, but at the end of the day, look, no, they will do what's right because we're making them. That's power. We're not asking. Fuck that. So that's where I'm gonna land on that. Again, Dewan, if you have any thoughts, I'm gonna kick it to the new speaker, Ashley, who's been throwing me all sorts of hearts. So I'd like to see what she has to say. But Dewan, if you want to go first, that's cool.
No, let Ashley go. Then I'll go after her.
Welcome to the stage, Ashley. What's going on?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. And I really appreciate you letting me speak. So I think, like, for me, I would, I don't know, like, I haven't considered myself like the opposite of a white liberal woman, but the worst like people I've seen are fucking white liberal women. So I'm like kind of happy to, even if I have to put myself on the complete opposite realm of that, like, I think, and in just like listening to this space, cuz I I've been actively like trying to just participate in like spaces with different perspectives, than mine. Like, I don't know everything, but I know my experience in the real world and like in my real life. So I want to like seek out different perspectives. Well, I think for sure, like, one thing that I know is that we, like, all of us human beings have more probably in common than we think. And like, when it really comes down to it, like, are we really like against each other, or is are like there other things that maybe we can like unite on and fight against? And I think,
Let's break it down right there. I like where you're going, and I hope that this is an opportunity for us to grow together. Things that we can unite on. People who are not supposed to be here. How do you feel about that? And then, are you a person who's supposed to be here? Because we got to be honest about that. And what I mean by that, just because I know that that can be a funny question coming
mhm.
to a white person from a black person, when everybody understands that white people colonized North America. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying, are you like one of the original white people, or are you like a new white person? Because there's a line in the sand right now between black people who've been here and black people who just got here, and you're entering in my space. This is really what the conversation ends up boiling
Yeah.
down to, and if we can unite somewhere, it's got to be on people who not supposed to be here.
Wow, I really appreciate that. And the explanation, because I did just kind of join the space. So thank you so much. And for me, I think we all have our individual experiences in life. Like, what I know about my family is that my on my great grandma's side, we were Choctaw Indians in Oklahoma, or yeah, Oklahoma now. But in 1865, we were kicked out of our territory, and so my family had to uh, migrate down to Texas, and so that's where like I grew up. Um, but it, I don't know. I mean, it's we all have different stories.
No, no,
So
no, Ashley, I let you go for a little bit because I'm just trying not to be how the room knows that I'm already am. I just cut and dry. Are you a white person who was here prior to like 1900, or are you white people who got here after 1900? That's the first question. Second question is, if you are a prior to 1900 white people, do you agree with people who are coming here now who are getting things that they shouldn't be getting, because there are people who are here already who should be getting those benefits and resources?
oh my God. No, so my family's been here like before 1865. I know that for sure. And what I'll say about us that have been here, and now that the borders are completely open, uh what we know for sure is that now these illegals that are coming through the border are getting health care benefits. They're getting their health care bills paid for, when citizens of the United States of America are not. And I completely disagree with that. What do you guys think about that? Because that's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. The illegals. Are you saying the borders are fucked and we need to do something about it because I don't know why it was choppy for me over here, and then
Yeah,
I was
she,
trying to get
she,
Kush over here.
Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah, the borders are completely fucked. It is so fucked up that we have anybody and everybody coming through the border, coming just like freely, and it's mostly military age men, 18 to 24, that are coming from all over the place.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's something we can agree on. And I like that. We can agree somewhere. So to Mark's point, we can come across party lines or whatever and agree on some of these things. But then it gets down to like the nitty gritty. The resources that are being dished out, there are people here that are owed before everybody else, before the God's chosen people, the real estate people. Okay, y'all know who those are. The DACA people we feel sorry for, people, all of that, poor white people. Ashley, do you agree that there are people in this country right now who are owed based off of where we are in 2024? And if that's the case, I think that that's good that we can agree. And if we can't, then I'd like to know why we can't agree.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I honestly think that it is that is such it's such a hard question to answer though, because like think about all of the variables. Like it comes down to the individual person. Like what did your family have to go through? And like for me, like my Indian family was pushed out of their territory. That's half of my family.
Sis-
I'm sorry. I Your Indian family. I'm not saying that you don't have that in your family. I'm not. I'm saying that I've learned a lot about people who look like you who've been able to get some paperwork that makes things make sense. And then you, unbeknownst to you, you carry the story like Elizabeth Warren. I don't know how you feel about Elizabeth Warren or whatever. And I guess actually, Ashley, I appreciate you coming through the space and sharing your thoughts. But it's not a big question. People are already owed. That is a fact. How do we know it's a fact? Because people are coming here today to get some of that resources, tangibles, and benefits that they are not giving to the people who are owed those benefits. So while we can agree there are people who are not supposed to be here, I think that in real time, we're always going to see that these people don't want us to get what's owed to us. They kind of just want us to chill. They Go
Sister,
ahead, Dr.
he,
Short.
sister,
Or Dewan,
he,
Dr. Short, Dewan,
yeah,
whichever one.
please
go ahead, Dr. Short. Go ahead.
look. I'm a genealogist, madam, and as recently as this summer, people had to sue the tribe you came from because they've systematically discriminated against people in their tribe who are, at least in part, Black this year because the tribe has practiced apartheid as a descendant. There are a whole bunch of us who are of Aboriginal descent, and we've been screwed by folks, and we're still being screwed. I've been involved off and on with this thing, with the Seminole Freedmen. My question to you, not about the illegals, is if you wanted to help us do something about this goddamn blood quantum thing that the Bureau of Indian Affairs has that has dispossessed us in our own land, where I can't claim my heritage. There are tribal benefits you can get I can't have. I may be more Indian, way more than you, and because my skin is red, I'm disqualified. And so there's apartheid within. In fact, the Choctaws owned slaves. I was doing research on the Choctaw reservation and all of this literally earlier this year. So you've got apartheid within the so-called five civilized tribes, with the Chickasaws being the worst. I just collected a bunch of books. Your tribe supported slavery. And so when we talk about who suffered the most, excuse me, and what kind of Indian? A $5 Indian or what? Because this Indian thing is a legal definition versus a biological one. So, that whole thing, It's a scam. I'm not saying who you are or where you're coming from, but supported slavery, still support discrimination around casinos and everything else. I mean, hell, we need reparations from y'all. I'll shut up.
Hey, Dr. Short.
No, there you
And I
go.
want
Go
I
ahead,
want I
Duane.
want to back up what Dr. Short just said because I was getting ready to talk about that. Yeah, when it comes down to it, see, well, one thing that always rings my ear, and maybe this could be a teachable moment for Ashley. When you start to sparse over which black person deserves more than other, that's a major problem. That's a major problem. And that's a major problem. That's I don't look at that as a minor offense. I look at that as a major offense because no other group that gets money from this country gets parsed over who got it the worst, and they have a tiered system. And only when it comes to us, that's basically another way of saying no. It's just the way I took it. It's just another way of that's just another way of saying no. So that's the way it's taken. So just understand that. And then to go along with Dr. Short was saying, my family, my 5 times great grandmother, also Choctaw, also in Texas. Uh she was someone who was one of the enslaved Choctaw, who was actually before that naturally a Choctaw, but enslaved by other Choctaw, and then freed and got reclassified as black in the 1890s. My family still owns that property in South Dallas that she bought 130 years ago. With that being said, so what? We should get less because we have a bloodline that maintained what is dispossessed Choctaw family passed down. I also have Potawatomi in me from the up in the Michigan, Milwaukee area. I have pictures of my Potawatomi ancestors, some of the last surviving original bloodline, darker than me. That when I went to go look to see if I can register with the Potawatomi tribe, being that I have direct descendants from that tribe, registered descendants, and their pictures are in local museums in the Benton Harbor, Michigan area. Um, I can't get a part of that.
That's
So
right.
do I get less? So when it comes to parsing over just to other black people, because again, we don't have much time when it comes to this. This is a fight that we're in, and that's why I would never get mad at a lady for saying like what she said, or you don't respond to any kind of anger, but you explain clearly what it is and you move on. Because this isn't something that we're gonna fight over, which black person gets more than other. I have some family members that were never enslaved. But do they not get anything? Because I tell you one thing, after 1880, when after Reconstruction ended, even the ones who didn't get enslaved started to go through goddamn hell. They were going through hell before that, but they really started to go through hell after 1880. Dispossessed of land that they've had and held on to for centuries,
Hmm.
got dispossessed because of the colors of their skin. So there's one common shared experience, whether you were enslaved on the field, enslaved as a musician, free. When you get to the late 1800s, no matter where you were before the 1800s, there's one common story. And for anyone to come from the outside and say we're going to parse through those stories and say who deserves more, that's not cool because, like again, no one says which immigrant class. Well, our Salvadorians get it worse than Mexicans, so our Salvadorians should get more of this money that the United States is giving away. No one else does that. Only when it comes to us, and that's a major red flag.
And that's a white privilege move or a wannabe white move.
Absolutely. And I brought Ashley back up because you guys are bringing up good points that I, not that I didn't think was a good point when now people want to call me while I'm live. Okay. So, Duan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear
All
you.
right.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, Ashley, the $5 Indian thing is a real thing. It's not just some shit that we were told. And a lot of us have native ancestry, and then we were told that we're not because a lot of y'all were claiming the lineage. Now there's evidence and then documents of Okay, now there's evidence and documents of the infiltration. The infiltration of it all. And I'm sorry, I know I keep getting cut off because I don't know why the fuck people keep calling me right now. But the question is, do you support your tribes opening it up, getting us the reparations that's owed to us, getting rid of those the blood tie laws that say that because I'm not whatever Dr. Short was just talking about. I'm sorry. I'm flustered because these phone calls keep coming in. But Ashley, reparations for us first. That's it across the board. You agree with that or not?
100%.
Good. Now from there, you've got a real opportunity to do something because we don't have
Yep.
access to these tribes because they say that we're not of these tribes. You're in the tribes. So how about doing something for us? You agree with that?
Absolutely. I think so. I'm so humbled right now, and I just want to humble myself like in front of all of you, because I think that whenever it comes to um like things that separate us, or that we like choose to uh you know like really disagree with others on, are the things that really we need to come together on. And like that, this for me was a learning experience. I think that hatred is ignorance. I think that racism is ignorance. And I want to admit for sure that man, I feel really just ignorant for not knowing more about my lineage and what happened with the Choctaw Indians. And thank you so much, Dr. Randy, for jumping in there and having like so much, just being so gracious, and just Eve, like, thank you guys for calmly like educating me, because people won't admit that they were ignorant and speaking out about things. But I think a lot of people are hungry for like knowledge, but they don't. It's hard to, you can't just say like, hey, I'm gonna like teach you something right now, when in normal conversations. So but these are the kinds of conversations that we need to be having. People like me, like other uh white people that like don't really know, but there's just so much shit. Like, what's up with the whole like Jewish Palestinian thing? I feel stupid because I don't know, like I don't know the whole history
Right. And
behind all
see,
of that.
that's exactly what we're talking about. So I appreciate you coming back up. It's very
Thank you.
brave to speak up when a lot of times y'all get called off code by your people and then, they really treat y'all, all sorts of different ways when you speak up. Um, that's something that I think that we can learn as Black people. There's got to be consequences for off code behavior. And again, if Ashley is real, then then maybe we'll really see some real things happening for Black people who have the same lineage. In the meanwhile, man, we've been on here for a minute, and it all started with South Carolina needing a pull up, and now we're here in the Delineation Cafe, which I like it. It's always going to get back to us and what we're owed and why we're even having these conversations. I don't like to talk for no reason. A lot of y'all like to talk. I don't like to talk for no reason. I like to listen, I like to learn, and I like for us to get started. So, from what we've learned tonight, if you've learned anything, there's a couple different things happening in South Carolina that you can do something about. Specifically, I like the Bloomberg treatment, like that actual symbolic, they can see Black people saying fuck you without you actually having to say fuck you. But if you're not in the area, then you can call. That works too. I mean, I've actually done that and have seen how disrupting business can get you in conversations that you didn't even think that you were going to have. But if you're not participating in conversations like these, you're not having these thoughts. Or maybe you are having these thoughts, but you don't know what to do, which kind of goes back into the conversation that we were having with Mark earlier. Talking to us like we're people who are voting blue no matter who, that's not the move. because a lot of us have already seen behind the curtain. We need to know what the fuck to do now, but nobody's been there. Not on our side of things. We haven't been there yet. Not really. At least the last time we were there is when they started sniping everybody. Our ancestor, Dr. King, said, we can't wait. And that's when they took him out. So when we're all kumbaya and everybody gets what's owed to them because everybody was wronged and all that, it's sad and people have been wronged. But no, there's an order. And if we can get back to the order of things, then shit, the math will start to math. And specifically this weekend, January 6th, 7th, January 15th, uh, these upcoming dates, we can do something in some of these places where these people have already made it known that Black people don't give a damn about themselves because they're just going to allow things to happen. But what we can allow to happen, if there's nobody on the ballot that's speaking for us or giving us tangibles, we can just allow them to fight it out. You don't have to vote. Fuck them. And really, I mean, you don't have to go and vote for Kanye or vote for yourself. You don't have to go cast a ballot at all. Your missing in action is a symbol that they're going to pay attention to. And when enough of us say, fuck their system, and let them figure it out while we work on us, that is Black Wall Street. Do you know that after slavery, while they weren't really leaving us alone, they left us alone? And while they left us alone, we were able to do so much. We can fix that. That there was only one thing that they didn't do. They weren't into that whole protection aspect because we were so focused on building. We can learn from them by protecting what's ours and building all at the same time. But it starts now. It has to start now. What are you waiting for? Dewan, I don't know if you have any final thoughts. Dr. Short, I really appreciate you coming through because I know that you've been very busy this weekend. And Miriam, you've been on stage, and your thoughts this evening have been welcome. And all the speakers, I appreciate y'all coming through, really. But Dewan, you have any final thoughts for us?
No, I think that I have, but the way it ended is cool. Just go ahead and just we gotta when we can't be allowing people to have us fight over who deserves more because we do know that there are certain groups out here on Twitter who like to argue over who what to call who, what name is this, who deserves. That's a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? Because it's a shared experience. We're a shared group of people. And when it comes down, no, we and at the same time, a lesson we learned today is I think we can fight for local stuff and national stuff too at the same time. If you're going to participate in local politics, learn the local game, but we got to push for these reparations because that's going to get all this shit, and it can happen. They proved it to us in 2020. In 2020, when a notion comes, when this country says this is what needs to happen, because they see the temperament of the nation is at a certain pitch, they can do it. Remember this, people. Like what Eve was talking about abstaining, your vote. The biggest threat to national security is internal destabilization. That's to any country on the planet. Every country, and for any country to exist, for any country to sustain itself, the majority of the nation has to be bought into the program that whatever program the country's pushing. We're the consciousness of this nation. When we are when a critical mass of us is not bought into the programming and we're pushing for what we want and we're backing out and we're getting quiet and we're only talking when we say it's talking. Okay, your shooting can't make us react. Your this can't make us react. We choose to react. At that point, we now have leverage. People talking about all these guns and shit. We ain't gonna never have enough guns to defeat these people. There are other forms of leverage and internal destabilization through lack of participation in the way this country operates. That's a major, 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 major red flag for any nation, and that's a key that we hold. So we must look at all different points of views when it comes to that, and know that we do have leverage.
Leverage. Absolutely. Man, I, I like how our conversations keep coming back to the same talking points. At the end of the day, we can make these people do what we need them to do, or they can get the fuck out the way. Um, you might not have agreed with what Mark was talking about with the programs and shit. I wasn't really feeling that because I see in real time them giving people money. No, that's right now money. That's our money. And if enough of us are saying, no, you got to stop giving it to them other people and you got to direct it to us, that's right now money. That math. Anybody who's telling you that you have to do it another way, you got to look at them funny. And I'm not saying that Mark is an op, but did you see how Twitter kept allowing him to speak when I muted him? Like, I mute the whole room, but you talking about programs, but you're allowed to keep talking about that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that tonight. At least think about the fact that I don't have a huge following. But do you know how hard it was to start this fucking space? I mean, really, it took like 3 different tries. I had to come on 3 different devices. Dr. Short wasn't even able to get in on his main account. And we don't have these huge followings. So I know that y'all think that we're not really doing anything, but we are. The fact that these interruptions happen in real time, that matters. Check it. When y'all are watching YouTubes for whoever you're watching and you're really feeling the message, you know that there's a commercial coming, right? It always happens. Why? Because they know that the message is real and they have to disrupt it by any means necessary. So while people are getting paid for the commercial, we're also getting a disruption in the message. Dr. Short made a point, and I don't know if he made it in this space or if it was in a back channel conversation that we had, but I think that you guys should know when we're saying fuck their money, like we're not being a puppet or person, an employee, and we're really making boss moves, we can say whatever the fuck we want. And then it's up to y'all to do something with it. It Once you start taking their check, I don't have a blue check, and this is no disparaging against anybody who does have a blue check. My co-host has a blue check. I think that you should be able to get paid by these people. But I also think that while we're in this time of information sharing and taking what's ours, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it another way. We can eat off of these people our way because we said so. But enough of us have to be comfortable saying so. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just Eve. So, you can do what you want. But the way that we've been doing it, that is the slow way. I'm not saying we're not going to get there. If you know our story, you know that we've been here for a long time and we're going to be here for a long time. But wouldn't you like to get there now? How many of y'all have legacies that are here now, but you have to tell them to wait because our elders and olders voted for people who are not supposed to be here because their story was sad and bombed Palestine, Israel? I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. Cut the check. Why? Because you can help everybody else by helping the people who helped y'all get to where you're at. I don't know. I think that the order matters. And before I soapbox anymore, conversations are constructive if you do something with them. So do something with our conversation tonight. Pull up to South Carolina or call. If you need help, Dr. Short's available, Dewan's available, I'm available, Marcel's in the room, he's available, Sister Miriam is available, Miss G is available. There are people who are not on some high horse and not trying to tell you what you need to do, and people who will speak up for you if you don't know how to speak. Foundational Black America first. I think I'm gonna start ending it like that because I used to say Black first. Black first. Look, before I end, this is a whole crackhead moment live, but before I end, Black first. It's too many of us who look at Black people as family, and I think that we need to look at our actions. So, culture over color. Our lineage matters.